speculating. Character designer Tetsuya Nomura, because of course he's involved, revealed that a synopsis does exist, written by scenario writer Kazushiki Nojima. Oh dear, oh dear. The good news is, though, that this supposedly world-shattering plot is currently sleeping, which is a polite way of saying they have no idea what to do with it and are probably hoping people forget about it. But developers made it clear that while Temporary is technically possible, it won't even be considered until after the Final Fantasy VII Remake project is finished. Which, given how Square Enix loves to stretch things out, means we'll be lucky to see it before the PlayStation 7 comes out. In other words, it's just another classic case of, yes, we could do it, but we won't commit to actually making it happen. So for now, Final Fantasy X-3 exists in the same limbo as Square's other abandoned ideas. Just enough to tease fans and generate buzz, but not enough to actually mean anything. Which is probably for the best, considering the absolute train wreck of lore they'd have to untangle just to justify it. Don't forget, I'm getting nearly 50% off both Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake. But that's not all. I can also hook you up with Final Fantasy X 10-2 double pack for just $12, plus massive discounts on thousands of other must-have games for your collection. Whether you're revisiting classics or diving in something new, this is your chance to grab them for a steal. Just don't go listening to any cursed audio dramas that come with any of them. Just let the games speak for themselves. Happy shopping and cheerio. Final Fantasy X, not just...
So this next video is scary and...
I made a big bag of water spheres in my backyard so I could melt Nordic gold and pour it in there. Every time I pour metal in, it makes a unique sculpture. I'll put the metal and float down around each of the watery spheres, forming this interesting design. What do y'all think of this golden sculpture?
So this next video is scary and mysterious ancient cave paintings found in the world. What secrets do they hold? And why were they made? Check it out.
Engraved by our ancestors on the walls of times are the messages allowing us to look into the past.
Then pass them down to next generation. We carved them, we painted them.
Sometimes portraying otherworldly beings.
They have to ask, what was it that inspired these unusual images?
While the other times hiding terrifying feelings.
It doesn't look like all the same.
So let's watch the most baffling ancient art pieces that earlier Homo sapiens have left for us.
Thousands of petroglyphs that feature mysterious beings. It depicts a group of figures meeting with what appears to be extraterrestrial. Wow.
Deep in the Brisbane National Park of Australia are two massive 8-foot-high walls engraved with over 300 ancient carvings. The mysterious site is called the Gosford Glyphs. The strange thing about these inscriptions is that they don't resemble indigenous artwork, but rather share a striking similarity with Egyptian hieroglyphs. But that's not the only thing. Among those carvings is one pretty bizarre shape that's not supposed to be there. A classic UFO with rays of light coming out of it.
I definitely have the classic UFO shape, the rays, or whatever you call it.
Many have speculated that it could be jewelry or some other symbol, but it remains an intriguing mystery. The mark doesn't fit in with the canon. One Gina Rock.
I thought about it. Sure. But the thing about that, entertain that, I can see where my mind can take it with that. I never really entertained that.
It was the distance. The distance was wrong.
With aliens so far ahead of us in technology, it wouldn't be surprising to find out that they reached Earth thousands of years ago. In Kimberley, Australia, archaeologists have found caves that suggest exactly that. The walls are covered in paintings of bizarre creatures called the Wangina, with big white faces and large black eyes. The entities unmistakably resemble alien greys. The indigenous people of Australia believe these figures descended from the skies to impart wisdom on the people who preserve their memory by painting them.
Then pass them down to next generation. We carved them, we painted them to guarantee that they pass down.
Whether you believe the story or not, these chilling lifelike depictions will certainly leave a mark on you. World's longest art gallery. petroglyphs are covered with over 10,000 ancient petroglyphs, but one panel in particular has left experts scratching their heads. The family panel.
So you have to ask, what was it that inspired these unusual images?
These petroglyphs depict humanoid figures that seem to be wearing some kind of spacesuits, complete with helmets and antennas. And this isn't an isolated incident. Nearby, in Seago and Horseshoe Canyons, similar carvings have surfaced, showing strange floating figures.
You have these strange creatures seen to be floating up in the sky. They appear to wear helmets. Very strange.
According to Native American legends, these images date back thousands of years before a great cataclysm, represent beings who descended from the skies to share their wisdom with humanity. Could these petroglyphs be evidence of ancient alien visitations right here in Utah? What do you think?
Thousands of petroglyphs that feature mysterious beings. It depicts a group of figures meeting with what appears to be an extraterrestrial.
Alien message. Ancient petroglyphs at an Arizona ranch have captured the attention of researchers with their strange and unique designs, leading to speculation that the ancient people might have depicted extraterrestrial encounters. One particular petroglyph closely resembles a gray alien with its triangular head and large eyes. Another portrays a towering humanoid figure with a rectangular body and curvy lines, which
My legs are too
experts
tight.
believe represent vibrations.
And you see the curvy lines on the body. That always symbolizes vibration. The Anunnaki wore cloaks that had those kind of curvy lines.
Many scholars speculate that these figures could represent the
Can you be so sure? I'm not saying that they're not right at what they're saying. It's just when you use words like always, that's always what it means. How are you so sure of that? That always blows my mind when somebody does that.
Anunnaki, powerful deities from outer space, according to ancient legends. Whether these petroglyphs are a record of actual contact with extraterrestrial beings or merely artistic expressions remains a mystery.
John, this is incredible. And what I love the most is the access. I mean, I've never been face to face like this.
Ancient spirals. Chaco Canyon in New Mexico was a major center of culture for the Anasazi, or the ancestral Puebloans. But in the 12th century, something very strange happened. According to archaeologists, sometime around 1130 AD, all construction stopped. While migration is argued to be one cause of this, experts think there's more to this sudden disappearance. And this is where the unusual carvings come in. A dozen spirals carved into a cliff. Many believe that these are portals or doors to different dimensions, and that this might be the reason behind the disappearance of the Anasazi people. And perhaps they were not people of this planet at all.
Something that was separate. It is possible that the Anasazi are in another dimension, another timeline.
Egyptian mystery. Egyptologists have developed a pretty strong hold of hieroglyphics, but every once in a while they come across something baffling, like the bizarre Abydos carvings
It's already
or
hot
the
in this
helicopter hieroglyphics adorning the walls of the Temple of Seti.
It's already hot in here. I hate it.
In the early 1900s. Some of the carvings bear an uncanny resemblance to modern-day vehicles like helicopters, jet fighters, and even spaceships. How come a civilization that lived 1,000 years ago carved pictures of things that weren't invented yet?
And you can't look at that and be like, that looks like a spaceship, bro. It's better than anything I could have drawn to resemble a spaceship, bro. So why would they draw that? Interesting, right?
Well, netizens believe that they had some kind of contact with aliens, or maybe a time-traveling device was behind it. And while experts remain unconvinced, the carvings are no less real. Like the Abydos carvings, the Dendera light is also one of the most shocking discoveries from Egypt. In fact, it is so shocking that it has been called one of the most controversial finds in Egypt to date. Lying in the Hathor Temple is an ancient drawing that depicts a man holding what looks like a light bulb with a filament inside. Egyptologists have multiple theories trying to explain the mysterious sketch. They think the bulb is a lotus flower and the filament is a snake. But that doesn't explain the cord that looks like it is attached to a power source. This has led to many fringe among these ancient Egyptian wonders is the archaeological remains of the vast Karnak temple dating back to the 32 BC. Amidst its colossal structures are the interesting obelisks. The carvings adorning them have captured the attention of experts worldwide. These tapering monuments have been carved with the same inscription,
Navi, Navi, thank you, down.
with
Get down,
all
okay.
being the exact same.
The obelisk
Lay
is
down.
carved with the same inscriptions on four sides, and they're all exactly the same.
Carved with so much precision that researchers believe it was the work of some sort of a machine.
Human head, no matter how good you are, can never do that.
Experts argue that the markings suggested use of 21st century machinery. But the problem is, how did they acquire that technology all those years ago? Well, many believe aliens had something to do with it. UFO landing site. In the San Agustin Archaeological Park in Colombia,
I'm crap at
statues resemble
spinning back kicks or spinning
aliens
crescent
standing in
kicks.
the Shiva temple. Some experts suggest ancient travelers used vimanas, extraterrestrial flying machines from the Mahabharata, to journey from India to South America.
They were using the Vimanas, which is why they set up this ancient Shiva temple here.
Ancient astronaut theorists point to one statue in particular, a spaceman-like figure wearing a helmet and holding a cylinder connected to the ground, similar to the tool Kila, used by the Hindu god Swarna Kala Bhairava to mine gold. The theory suggests these travelers came in search of gold, using advanced technology. Given the region's history as a land of gold, this idea of extraterrestrial connections becomes even more intriguing. Millennia-old petroglyph.
That is amazing because we now have absolute proof of a civilization that predates.
Back in 2013 in western Nevada, researchers taking samples from the dried-up Winnemucca Lake stumbled upon what is now known as the oldest petroglyphs in North America. The carbon dating of these limestone carvings revealed that they were 10,400 to 14,800 years old. These ancient inscriptions have left people stumped, as some of them have quite unusual designs, the most shocking one being the spirals. Many other ancient civilizations have left similar carvings that experts have associated with the shape of galaxies, which begs the question, where did they receive that information? Leading to a chilling theory. Perhaps a civilization exactly like ours existed all those years ago, and maybe the human race is just going in circles.
Does the human race go in cycles? No way one day means somebody's man-made, somebody's folklore.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think about that all the time. Like everything we're doing, looking for information about our past, other than the future that we're doing, looking at our stuff, trying to figure out their past. It's all a cycle, bro. It's gotta be a cycle, man. And also, I love when we find things that cause us to have to rewrite the history books. I love that. I don't know why.
Maybe bad first.
Stone pillar. In 2010, a team of archaeologists made a fascinating discovery amid the ruins of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. A strange stone pillar unlike anything they had seen before. This ancient totem pole, estimated to be 10,000 years old, was later showcased in a museum, drawing experts from across the globe. The pole is carved with three distinct figures stacked on top of each other. The first, though partially damaged, is believed to depict a non-human entity due to its unusual ears.
You can see the natural difference here. It doesn't look like human beings.
The second has more human-like features, thought to represent an early form of humanity.
The second figure, you can see the arm and hand.
The last figure resembles a human infant.
Third figure, it looks like human.
Some experts speculate this pole could symbolize the true origins of humanity, suggesting we might have extraterrestrial roots. Mayan mysteries. In the 1950s, a tomb was unearthed in the ancient city of Palok. Inside, archaeologists discovered the stone coffin of Lord Pakal, but what truly caught their attention was the intricately carved lid. The image on the lid shows Lord Pakal in a curious pose. He's leaning forward, almost like a motorcyclist in full tilt. His nose is connected to what looks like an oxygen mask, and his hands appear to be manipulating control tells the creation tale of humanity, where two hero twins paved the way for mankind, followed by the descent of 13 gods. Among these gods, one stands out the most, the flying serpent, Vulcan. This enigmatic figure has captured the curiosity of researchers for decades. In various depictions, Kupulkan is shown as a serpent with a human head, leading many to speculate whether this flying serpent was more than just a myth, perhaps even an advanced aircraft carrying extraterrestrial visitors. With these strange and puzzling representations, we can't help but think there was something more at play.
Kukulkan looked like a
What I felt.
shooting across the sky.
It's hard.
It feels like a modern
So I'm all unbalanced because I'm sleepy and shit.
All we can do is
Need more
continue
practice.
to wonder and speculate. Alien artifacts.
How are we not though?
From the level of sophistication, detail, and composed material, this piece of art is believed to be one of a kind. A group of explorers in Mexico was exploring a long-lost city where they found amazing alien artifacts depicting a UFO, statues showing alien-like figures with carvings on them. One of them also happens to be a collector of ancient artifacts. He shared that he had been surprised by the material of pottery items. He believed it to be the work of aliens themselves. The source further added that these could be belongings that aliens might have left here on Earth hundreds of years old. Ancient computer.
When they found that ancient Greek computer thing, incredibly complex, and it took a long time for them to figure out what that even is.
The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off Greece in 1901, is an ancient Greek device dating to around 100 BCE, often called the ancient Greek computer. It was used.
This is another thing I'm hoping that when we get the opportunity to see AI or even these robots do some incredible things, this is one of the things I hope they get their hands on and be able to really put it through and show us how it functioned back in those times. These are the things that I
Except my leg ran out.
Used to predict astronomical events and features intricate gears and dials, showcasing advanced technology far ahead of its time. Some theorists speculate that its complexity suggests extraterrestrial influence, arguing that such advanced knowledge might have come from aliens. Mainstream scholars associate the mechanism's sophisticated design to the remarkable skills of ancient Greek engineers, reflecting their advanced understanding of astronomy and mechanics rather than any extraterrestrial involvement.
This was a spectacular device. It's an analog computer. This was a device that we wouldn't see again for another.
I keep on being too heavy.
until the 1800s.
Abu Simbel Temple. Back in March 1813 in Aswan, Egypt, a Swiss explorer stumbled upon three giant heads protruding from the sand. Later, a thorough excavation revealed a 3,400-year-old temple, now called the Abu Simbel Temple, which contains sculptures almost 64 feet tall, some of the largest statues ever discovered.
Multiple complex devoted to Ramses the Great. These statues are colossal.
Once a year in February and October, sunlight passes through the temple entry, shining on the colossal figures carved into stone. And experts believe the purpose of these statues is more than just artistic or political. They have a theory that these figures are transmitters attracting cosmic energies. While many believe that this is purely symbolic, a few others argue that these monuments possess energy quite literally. What could possibly be the origin and purpose of the gigantic structures? If you've got any hints, let me know in the comments below. UFO artifact. Back in 1974, a group of construction workers in Romania, in a village called Owit, unearthed something truly bizarre. 30 feet deep in the sand, they stumbled upon mastodon bones, a creature that went extinct around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. But that wasn't the most shocking part.
I was just throwing knives. How to move these guys.
They found a
I'm gonna
strange
run into them.
wedge-shaped object made mostly of aluminum. Now, here's
Oh, that's
a
how
real
it's like-
mystery. Aluminum wasn't discovered until 1825.
Aluminum didn't come into existence until 1829.
So how on earth did this object end up with
And
bones
then
that are
fucking-
over
and then I
10,000
do it.
years old? Some
But I'm too
experts
close to
believe
throw
it
it.
could be part of a landing
I have to
gear
be,
for
like,
an
way farther away.
extraterrestrial craft. Let me know your
To land
thoughts
this, I
about
gotta be
this
like
in
way
the
farther away.
magical artifact. An Egyptian man made a mind-boggling claim. He found an ancient artifact while digging in his own backyard. The object, an egg-shaped stone said to hold mysterious, almost supernatural power. Don't believe it? Well, take a look for yourself. When walking near electrical appliances, everything shut down. The stone wouldn't even show up in a mirror, and it somehow managed to boil water inside a jug. But here's where it gets even stranger. The man disappeared shortly after posting the video. Now, people are asking, is the government involved? What are they keeping from us? So many questions and no answers yet. Exodus. We all know the story of Exodus narrated in the Bible, but here's a remarkable discovery that revealed the story from the Pharaoh's point of view, carved into granite. The Bible calls Moses the king, while the granite tablet mentions him as the prince of the desert. Where the Holy Book calls the Israelites God's people, the monument calls them evil. And then it talks about the miracle of the parting of the sea, confirming what's in the Bible. Historians are excited to unravel more mysteries about the stone. Oldest artwork. Archaeologists in South Sulawesi, Indonesia, have discovered what may be the world's oldest known cave painting. The beautiful painting depicts 3 Sulawesi forest pigs engaged in an interaction that experts believe to be a mating ritual. According to researchers, the sketch has been made from a mineral pigment produced by crushing the ochre to a fine powder. The drawing dates back 45,500 years, making it the oldest depiction of the animal world by human hands. Insectoids. If you're a hunter, ex-hunter fan, you might be familiar with insectoids, or, in other words, the chimera ants. And it seems like they might not be all fiction.
I'm just like grabbing moves from my form and just working with them with regular.
Long, spindly arms, and what looked like antennae carved on
Just
the
working them with regular boxing.
experts puzzled, while many concluded that these were the ant people that are said to have emerged from
So-
underground to save
So I'm grabbing just regular boxing
during a catastrophe.
and adding the
Another more sinister theory
kung fu
is that
motions.
these were aliens. But the question is, were these creatures just a figment of human imagination, or did they actually make contact with the ancient civilizations? Your guess is as good as mine.
Except when I fight somebody, I don't think I'm going to. Unless I'm poking them in the eye, which I have done. You just on accident, even. Unless I'm poking somebody straight in the eye, I'm not going to hit them like that. I feel like that's just going to mess up my hand. So I think more realistic. From here, they punch, and we're like in the stage between punching and clinching. And that's when I'm. Except it's going to be more of a punch out of the way because the boxing gloves on. So. Make some space for yourself, brother. You're making me think that it's too dangerous. Nah, that's not dangerous. We got space in our minds. We got space in time. It's just a stick attached to a ladder because I don't have training tools right now. Either at the gym or my shit's outside and it's cold and dark. So your boy's got. I can tell I've been eating too much. I got man boobs and I got a belly. We gotta get rid of that. So let's move around and train. See, the belly's too large right now.
They tend to be complicated designs of unknown origin.
Multiple witnesses have claimed to see strange lights in the sky. UFOs, they said, hovered over the fields, leaving behind mysterious circular patterns. No one truly knows how these things were formed. A clever hoax or evidence of extraterrestrial visitors? You decide. Prehistoric cartoons. for 20,000 years until its discovery in 1994. Inside, the walls are adorned with breathtaking, lifelike paintings of animals. Horses, aurochs, woolly rhinos, mammoths, lions, and bison. It's one of the most extraordinary collections of cave art in the world. What truly captivated researchers was the attention to movement in these paleolithic masterpieces. Some animals, like a galloping bison, were drawn with 8 legs instead of 4 to depict motion, almost like frames of animation. Experts believe this Stone Age cinema holds a deeper narrative, and they're working hard to uncover its ancient secrets. Lizard men. Famous conspiracy theory about reptilian humanoids? Well, it seems like that isn't so recent. These curious sculptures covered in a rock date back to the
Except I
ancient period that
went on it wrong. I should have
1,000 years
covered my
old.
head like this,
They look human-like,
but because I didn't, it smacked me in the head.
lizard-like features, elongated heads.
So that's nice. It fights back a little bit. That's good to know.
Instead of human mouths. The question is, are these a figment of a human imagination or a preservation of an actual historical event? Mainstream archaeologists believe they are purely symbolic, while others think there might be more to this story. But what do you think?
I'm of the other that there's more to the story. Basically, I don't know, reptilian things, that type of vibe.
It's Sabu. I'm sure it's hard to believe that an object like this could have something to do with ancient Egyptians, but that's where it was found back in 1936, in the tomb of an ancient Egyptian named Sabu, from where it got its name, the Disc of Sabu. Dating back to 3000 BC, this artifact is simply labeled as a decorative piece by the museum it's displayed in. But experts have different opinions. Many believe that it's a part of some machine created by the Egyptians, but nobody really knows its actual purpose. Neanderthal art? Art is thought to have originated around 30,000 years ago, credited to the creative mind and hands of our ancestor, Homo sapiens. But a recent discovery in the terrain region
Oh, I
of
quite like
France
that.
might rewrite
It's
that
like
history.
kinda like-
A team of prehistorians exploring an unknown cave stumbled upon some
It just makes me think of some crane boxing shit.
such as triangles, rectangles,
Talking about remove the fan and cardboard.
seemingly drawn at random.
Okay, let's do that.
Actually have been made by
Well then,
Neanderthals.
hope you become better very soon. Thank you. That's all we can strive to.
And further analysis is needed to determine whether these engravings are truly authentic. Mystic message. Back in 1842, a British archaeologist was excavating a library at the ancient city of Nineveh when he found a royal archive containing several clay tablets with cuneiform inscriptions. Dating back to 3000 BC, they are the oldest
That's
form of
super good
writing
advice,
ever
actually.
discovered. They've also been
Bro, that's actually really good advice. Thank you. That's really solid advice. It's not really about fighting as much as it is becoming a better version of what we are today. Or at least at this time. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. I was making progress and now I'm making not progress. So I gotta cut that shit out. Before I completely undo all the progress I made.
9,000 to 13,000 years, known for its
It does look
collection of handprints, hence the name, the Cave of
What really is, I was wondering, I'm interested to see how this was going to turn out and what was it going to be. There really is a cave of hands. That is the creepiest fucking I've seen on this video. Cave of hands. Wow.
of hands. These ancient paintings were created by stenciling hand outlines using paint blown through bone tubes. With over 800 handprints in shades of black, white, red, and ochre, the cave holds one of the most elaborate displays of ancient art. But what do they mean? The truth is, no one knows for sure. However, experts suggest that these prints might have been part of a coming-of-age ritual, as most of them belong to young boys.
The work is believed to be associated with a coming-of-age ritual and that the colors must be
Quite different from these ancient artworks were the prints that left
Oh shit, no!
found in the White Mountains of Wyoming were marks carved into the stone, made by nothing else but bare hands. These deep-set handprints were made into solid sandstone, as if our ancestors had found a way to soften rocks. Another theory circulating around the archaeological community is Muslims were in so
Uh-oh.
much pain.
If I just threw my glasses, I'm gonna be. If I broke them, I'm gonna be so sad.
Leaving these marks behind. Did our ancestors possess supernatural powers, or was there something more sinister at play here? I'll let you be the judge.
I don't even know where they
Bringing
flew.
rocks. A man trekking through the Algerian desert came across an unusual boulder. It made a ringing sound when struck with a stone, as if it was hollow from the inside.
My eyes have to adjust.
Own experiences after watching the video. Some suggested that it could be an ancient melted bell, while others believed it was a source of energy for the ancient people. Well, I guess there's not much that we know about our world.
They landed in a weirdly lucky spot. They landed on my PlayStation.
Chamber, which is absolutely covered in witch mark.
Deep inside the caves at Creswell Crags, the walls are packed with mysterious carvings dating back hundreds of years. At first, these marks were mistaken for graffiti, but recent analysis revealed
That's why I wear a
these
hat. It
are
keeps my
ancient
glasses
witch
still.
marks. The ancient
Obviously, I don't wear glasses when I'm like fighting and sparring and shit, but
overlap with each other, showing the
it's not fun to
desperation of the
drop them.
people who carved them. Experts believe these were to ward off not only witches, but evil spirits and demons of all kinds. Could this really mean that actual witches and other supernatural creatures existed? Or was it just superstition? However, looking at the telltale signs in the marks makes me believe that they were very much real.
Evil spirits would rise out of these depths, so the purpose of the marks was to trap them, preventing them from escaping into the outside world.
Asteroid Watch.
More like Overwatch.
If you like to be the center of attention in a room, then this piece of luxury is for you. All the way from the asteroid belt, this stunning watch was carved from the Greco-Geneve asteroid that fell in Argentina.
Oh, wow.
Unlike any watch you've ever seen, with predator-inspired hieroglyphics and looking like it belongs from the Stone Age, this watch is an iconic piece.
It's literally just a rock with a watch inside of it.
Every time something like this crops up on
Okay.
the internet, we're reminded of how little we know about the past and our own ancestors. And it seems like they were way more advanced than we think. Strange artifacts were discovered in a cave, crafted from some shiny material with bizarre carvings on them. Nobody was able to figure out what these things were created for. And while many theorized it was an underground ritual site, others remained unconvinced, arguing that the old age had better technology than we do. Have we been misled by the historians, or is this just a hoax?
I have to keep my hand up here.
Emerging road. In 2020, something truly unbelievable happened along the coast of Sakhalin. During low tide, a mysterious ancient stone road appeared from beneath the water, stretching out into the sea. Curious residents flocked to the site, even walking on the road for a while before it sank back into the ocean, vanishing as quickly as it appeared. Experts were left speechless, unable to explain how such a road could rise to the surface. Speculation online went wild, with some suggesting it was the pathway to a long-lost underwater castle, possibly the realm of mythical beings. What do you think it could be? Let me know your take. Neolithic art. The Cave of the Deer is an important prehistoric site in Italy that hides one of the richest collections of Neolithic art. The amazing rock art adoring the walls is more than 4,000 years old. Paintings of various objects and figures fill the walls. Many are human figures shown in action, like hunting or performing rituals. Some depict animals, and even geometric shapes whose meaning is unknown. Today, we call them rock art. But back then, they might have held a different meaning and purpose. Archaeologists are thrilled to decode the real meaning behind these symbols and marks.
Oh, I have to be a little more flexible.
In central Turkey, among the ruins of an ancient temple lies a mysterious green boulder, which the locals believe to possess magical powers. This is the green stone of Hattusa. roughly a cubic block of jade just standing in the temple that dates back to the late Bronze Age. This 2,200-pound piece of rock is very out of place in the area, as it is the only green stone in the region. Many experts believe that it held a religious significance for the people, while others have theorized it was a ceremonial altar or a throne for the king. But the actual identity of this mysterious rock may remain hidden forever.
It's hard to do charge-in moves where I just charge in and just crash into the other person because I don't want to crash into my shit. But I want to practice them though.
Alien art gallery. Sounds unbelievable? See for yourself. Hidden deep within the Andes Mountains, the entrance to this gallery was sealed and had to be opened using heavy machinery. Once inside, researchers found narrow, winding caves that revealed sculptures of alien-like beings, often referred to as rays, with cryptic inscriptions on them. Even more astonishing was the discovery of an ancient book filled with strange sketches and
I'm gonna have to slow it down. I'm gonna fuck up my glasses,
while some were
which I
convinced
hate.
of the gallery's extraterrestrial origins, others argued it might be an art installation. But
Look at that. Also, look at the elongated skull. Try to go back to it real quick. See. It's just showing. Kind of see it a little bit. But drawings on an elongated skull is pretty interesting to me as well. And that gives a glimpse into why some of these civilizations might have been doing it as well.
what are your thoughts on this? Humans and dinosaurs? A shepherd looking for one of his animals came across what could be a groundbreaking archaeological discovery. It was a group of caves. Their walls were covered with prehistoric art depicting hunting scenes. Alongside human figures, there were a few paintings that looked like dinosaurs, but didn't they go extinct way before the existence of man? Carbon dating revealed that the Dino art was actually much older than others in the area. Experts have said it could be the interpretation of some modern animal, but others refuse to believe that arguing there could be a possibility that humans and dinosaurs used to coexist.
That part, see, I love what you rewrite.
I just take step together.
We could have possibly coexisted with these dinosaurs, man. That's just incredible to just imagine us. Okay, this is what we're having to deal with, and we're gonna survive this.
Evidence of aliens. The origin of this alien artifact is a mystery just as peculiar as the aliens themselves. A man trailing to a forest in an undisclosed location where he claimed to have discovered this large alien head made of pottery material. The finishing was done with a greenish-blue color and detailed carvings all over. The man was unclear if these were some kind of hidden messages or a map. In the center of the skull artifact around the forehead was what looked like a trigger button of some kind. This raises the obvious question if this was just some artifact or something
But
completely sinister.
I keep throwing that kick as I'm off balance. That's not acceptable.
Equally bizarre. It looked like a puzzle with miniature figures and other strange objects hidden inside a board. There's not much known about this strange artifact, leading people to speculate. Some theorize they might be keys to some secret doorway, while others speculated that it was a long-lost kit of some sort left behind by the aliens. But in the end, they're all just theories. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Open discussion. A few years ago, Bothun was discovered in Egypt. She believed it belonged to a lady named Hetpet, thought to possess a high rank in the royal palace. She was a princess to Hathor, the goddess of fertility. The tomb consisted of vivid wall paintings depicting Hetpet's life. It showed her engaged in activities like hunting, fishing, and dancing. Archaeologists hope to make new discoveries as they continue to excavate the site. So, what do you think? Are these ancient artworks evidence of extraterrestrial life? Or are they simply products of human imagination? Thank you very much for watching the video.
Download the Kayak app to search and compare prices on flights, cars, and hotels from hundreds of travel sites. Then do what people do. Check sites Kayak already checked. Play word game, play different word games. Sort of cool word, thought it would be worth more. Back to the Kayak app for a break.
I keep losing balance.
Grandma always wins. With fired pizza. Extra.
The Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra headphones are $80 off the President's Day, which is great because you can grab a pair and do that thing where you listen to the same song every day, all day for like 2 weeks until you.
So
Whoa, geez Louise, I'm having a fall. If you've ever looked at something like this and thought to yourself, that's the silliest thing I've ever seen, I can't say I strongly disagree with you, but over my many hours of experience learning about these sometimes silly styles, there's usually some contextual reason throughout history that has led us to this moment of, well, this. If you don't believe me, I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm not just going to prove it to you, I'm going to prove it to a friend of mine that I know doesn't believe any of this.
Martial arts history is so stupid. It's the only thing that people still cling to. Like, hey, people, the reason it's not good is you don't do it the old way. We don't think about that with food. We don't think about that with medicine. We don't think about that with exercise. We don't think about that with machinery and engineering. Martial arts history is both. All of it.
He's probably one of the more, I don't know, rugby people, I know? So convincing him should be a piece of cake. A couple quick examples are like
Here, I'm gonna take one of these sweaters off.
Focuses on the samurai way of fighting with the sword. However, it originated just after samurais were done doing their samarin, and the style was actually created to tell the stories of the samurai's wars and nobility. It was primarily an art. Kyokushin, a martial arts style known for its brutality, but also its lack of punches to the head, wasn't always like that, but at some point the creator, Masuyama, took away the head punching. Exactly why, we're not quite sure, but we know he wasn't the biggest fan of protective gear because it took away how realistic the fight would be, and he was also a big proponent of mental toughness. These punches or elbows if thrown to the base could stop fights earlier than he would like. For judo, lots of people think of it as only throws. This style comes from Japanese jiu-jitsu, which is primarily, again, what the samurai used to do who were heavily armored. So throwing them on the ground and then stabbing them was a big tactic. Once weapons weren't really being used as much, Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, thought that takedowns and the ground game were the things that were the most useful for the average person to know. So already we see cultural preservation, systemizing the style via rule set, and adapting a war-based law for post-war times. These are a couple of the many reasons you see martial arts turn into what they do today. And the next one that I'm going to blow my mind with is the French kickboxing style savant.
I imagine with the emphasis on the kicking with the toe, that it's not a martial arts game.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie, you hit the nail right on the head immediately. It's interesting to say that because the origins, from what I understand, that was told yesterday, are a game. Then before this, I took a call with my buddy, who I would consider a martial arts historian, and he said,
I keep losing my balance.
Savant evolved as a game, right? The very first records we have of the word savant as applied to dudes kicking each other on purpose.
Yeah.
It's just a French colloquialism for old slipper. That's all it means. 1700s-ish. The French military is traveling the world in boats, doing horrific things, exploiting resources, and people on these boats for an incredibly long amount of time. And it is illegal, according to the crown, because remember, we have money, to strike a fellow nobleman with a closed fist. Trained professional in certain kinds of violence, and you are full out of your mind. So, anybody who's ever met modern military men knows that they came up with a loophole. And what they came up with was this kicking game.
yeah, Mike was working on those. But by accident, maybe?
Was that a codified rule, or was that like an unwritten rule?
No, that was a codified, like, they were like, you are damaging government property, and you will be prosecuted as such. I don't think we really do this. So I'm the good. I bested. He's bested. Consider yourself bested.
Wait, where's the scoreboard? How's there already a scoreboard? What is that?
What do you mean? I'm on one.
From what?
Now, not all games that are martial arts based turn into martial martial arts of their own. Back hold comes to mind. I don't think I would call it a full-blown martial art, but it's definitely a game within wrestling. And these games within wrestling, especially that derive from feats of strength, there were plenty of them that came from the military. Collar and elbow wrestling is one of them. Cornish wrestling is another one. Plenty of styles that we think of today
Hey,
come from downtime.
Isn't that place for you to pee,
But the
Kilala?
next quote-unquote category of history that we're going to talk about is
No,
styles
get
that
out
were
of here with
designed
that.
to overcome attributes. According to legend, inspiration struck while I really don't know how to pronounce this. May watched a fight between a stork and a large rodent. She was impressed by the way the stork used its wings and legs to deflect and counterattack at the same time. She adapted the technique to formulate a unique new martial art in the 1700s. So I take it you don't subscribe to the concept that it was created by a smaller woman, and that's why all the shots are to the body. That's the one thing I'm surprised you haven't really said yet. Is the main issue that you have with it is the knuckle striking system, where you hit with the bottom two, you strike with the vertical fist.
It is strictly logistic. I don't. I think
Oh,
there's
almost
nothing wrong with the vertical fist.
fucking
Wing Chun
threw my
fights
glasses on the ground.
time.
Because I want to keep my defense super tight and my glasses are getting in the way of that.
The fight. I think hand trapping is cool. It works. It's real. You can do it. You've seen it. It's just that's all they do.
Once again, I have to bring in someone that was much more knowledgeable about this than I am.
So according to legend, Wing Chun was created by Shaolin non-native. She supposedly designed a system helping a smaller person defeat an opponent. Hence, it emphasized on structure, efficiency, and redirecting force instead of using brutal force. When they were not necessarily true, houses that Wing Chun was always about close quarter combat. So that's why Wing Chun focuses on the center line. It is the shortest distance and also the most direct path to the opponent.
Well, historically, that makes a lot of sense.
Again, I almost did it again.
Resolve the gripe
So why not-
that Mike has.
I'm sorry. I'm getting.
That's why I want to keep that shit
I'm not quite sure where
tight.
this one ties in.
History is proof. It's proof. You don't need to know it because people are full of it. Particularly when it comes to violence, they lie about it. Everything they wrote down is a lie. Everything they told people is a lie. I was in this village and I put all these dudes up. So I'm going there. This village, I'm gonna teach you how to fuck this up. If you give me money or give me fish or give me. He's probably a one strike lifestyle by modern day standards, but to them, he's basically Hoist Gracie. Speaking of Hoist Gracie, Rex Day.
Well, that's actually our next one. It's gonna be jujitsu.
Cool. It's a cool thing. It is a martial art. It is an effective martial art. It's great. I think the history is unimportant. I think all them dudes today are wrecking all this.
Oh yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a point then. Give me a point then, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
We're not
history is
done.
bullshit.
What? We're not done with this point yet.
Dude, you're just tapped.
I
It's a
can't.
purple tap.
No.
I think you just said, roll that. Did you say you right there?
Oh, yeah, I think that's fair.
Did you say that?
So you don't think that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was modified from Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and then Judo to accommodate for a weak body? No? You
Okay.
don't think so?
A little bit better on the not missing my balancing kicks.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does not accommodate for a weak body. It was not designed, nor was it invented for a smaller, weaker person to defeat a larger, stronger opponent. It was designed and invented for a person who knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to beat a person who does not know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because a big, humongous, fat guy doing Jiu-Jitsu to you hurts worse than a little tiny person doing Jiu-Jitsu to you. It's
Well,
not
that doesn't mean that the original doesn't work. That's like saying like a butter knife doesn't do what it's supposed to because it's not as strong as like a kitchen knife. But the butter knife still works to cut things that it's supposed to cut.
Sure, but it helps bigger people more. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, of course more. But they're still doing jiu-jitsu. Mike is too stunned to speak after this to bring this up, but a lot of people's problem with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that it doesn't really reflect clothes. And maybe it doesn't now, but it definitely used to. And also, it doesn't rip as easily as regular clothes do, so you don't have to just buy new clothes all the time. As far as defeating larger, more athletically inclined opponents, Hoist Gracie did do that to people who didn't know Jiu-Jitsu. But it's also going to fall into the same category that Wing Chun just did, that we'll touch on later. he maybe is just a little salty. I'm gonna take away a point. That's a nice development. Element, the electrolyte drink mix. Also to sponsor today's video. Element is a sugar-free electrolyte drink mix that tastes fantastic. Anytime I'm doing a hard workout and I'm sweating a lot, I think Element to keep me from getting headaches, cramps, I feel like I can train longer.
Go ahead, do the kick as I was falling. That's a bad habit.
Person who drinks the milk. Been an exclusive partner to many Olympic athletes around the NFL. Anytime you see
I shouldn't throw a kick while I'm falling. That's or backing up. That's ridiculous.
You lose water, but you also lose salt. For me, whenever I sweat a bunch, then I dry off. I can see the salt line my eyebrows. It's pretty interesting. And then I drink Element, so I get it all back. Or I don't do that. This drink mix actually comes from a growing body of research that shows that the optimal health outcomes actually are at sodium levels 2 to 3 times higher than the government recommendation. If you'd like to get a free sample pack with any order today, you can go to drinklmnt.com/senseiset. You can try which one you like. If you don't like any of them, it's 100% risk-free guarantee. Just let them know, they'll send you your money back, and you can do whatever you want with the flavors. Again, that is drinklmnt.com/senseiset. I don't think you'll want to return anything though, to be honest. Element, I recommend everybody. Outside of the YouTube channel, stuff that I don't get paid for at all, I still recommend it to all my athlete friends. Now, I think we maybe, my point of this isn't to prove the efficacy of martial arts. It is to help the average martial artist understand why it may look that way. So I think,
I'll tell you why it looks that way. Sam, I'm telling you, I just told you why. It's because a dude that can't fight live and a bunch of other dudes that can't fight David money.
so I take it you don't subscribe to the idea that all of the big swooshing, hand away from body movements, the throws, the takedowns, the wrist locks, don't come from trying not to get stabbed with a sword while you're doing this.
No, because you know why I know that? Because every couple of months, go out in the woods, maniacs, try to kill each other with big weapons. Nobody does it like this.
What do they do with the sword? Is it guys use swords?
Then you know what? It's the same. The sword is a knife as bad as a stick. Even a Filipino martial artist is better than that.
I disagree with that. When a sword is 3 feet long,
It gets easier to defend. Do you know how to defend it? By being closer.
So I think one of the other reasons that we get Aikido that looks like this, or martial arts that looks like this, is because we're creating martial arts based off of tools that don't really apply anymore. I think it's kind of similar to like equestrian sports now. We're not needing to race and ride through trails and over ditches and under things. Equestrian racing probably doesn't look anything like how people would chase people on horses, actually. And then you could be like, oh, well, this is how I guess I was fighting when you're not really being stabbed by a gun. So you create something that looks a little magnificent because you're kind of playing with a fire that's not really so hot.
Yeah, true. We have the luxury of modern times where like you can practice both martial arts.
Okay, so that one's done. I don't feel bad for anyone outside of the points over right now. This poor sucker doesn't stand a chance. He doesn't have a single point. Okay, let's see how you operate this. Wait up.
Stance is cool. Stance, they're hell in it.
I'm gonna let you say myself here. Let's bring in the expert.
Immediately look at how it evolved, right?
Right.
Was the result of direct oppression, right? It was a
You know,
martial arts
like,
by
chill
enslaved
with that.
people and combined a lot of cultural stuff that they were preserving from where they were coming from, and also adapting to indigenous influences in the space they were taking. It's really hard to separate any practice from that context, because if they're caught learning how to fight, they're in a level of trouble that we as modern white folks just cannot understand.
And just like capoeira in Brazil, we see something very similar happen in the south of the United States, and that is knocking and kicking.
Striking, sweeping, grabbing style. There's kicks, there's headbutts, there's elbows, but there's also a lot of ankle picking. There's a lot of stuff that starts out as a strike and becomes a grab. It evolves in Carolinas and the Caribbean, enslaved enslaved people develop it because
I need to make sure when I
the
throw it,
slavery of the American South was particularly awful.
I throw that shit with my.
There were
I need to
also,
make sure I throw I throw it with my whole head.
But maybe that is why knocking and kicking might
But at the same time,
be a skilled
I need to
violent tactic.
not do it super strongly, just very gently.
Depression happened all over the world and helped define another one of the world's most popular martial arts systems.
Applicable art, right? The stuff that is at the top of its game historically.
Yeah.
Sort of bounces off other disciplines and does have a cultural link. Filipino martial arts is an incredible example. And different armed discipline, right? Swords, knives, everything you can imagine, spears, shields, and then drew influence from Chinese martial arts, from Arabic martial arts, from Japanese martial arts. It's not like it was an isolated fortress. While this is happening, this active culture, Spain lands and does what colonizers do. And they outlaw specific weapons, they outlaw specific training. And so it comes and develops stick fighting as we know it, really beautiful techniques of empty-hand fighting, but it was an armed sword style first.
What's interesting to me is these martial arts now don't practice for the same reason they were back then, but now it's the cultural preservation. But sometimes that cultural preservation is a bit more religious. Next, we've got sumo, and what I think is the biggest reason sumo's not bigger. You want to know why sumo's not more popular? Because of the Milwaukee.
You think so?
I don't think so.
So is there some historical explanation for the Milwaukee?
Well, originally it was a ritual, spiritual thing to appease the gods, and whenever you're doing this bout in front of the gods, you want to make sure it's as fair as possible. The Mawashi's whole purpose is to have as little and your opponent as possible.
Historical explanation that makes sense because I think there's probably no power test. Like, I think I can push you out of the circle. And you're like, no, you can't. And it's like, oh, you pull my shirt. Oh, you pull my hair. Oh, you did this. Oh, you did that.
Right, exactly.
Oh, you punched me.
All right, fine. I'm gonna tie up the hair, drop down to my skivvies. Let's go.
I will push you out of the circle. And it's like, you can't.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense. So, well, no, not. It's per subject. No, it's per subject. But I think the real reason that sumo is not more popular in Western countries. Oh, you're not listening.
The key to great skill is accumulating emotion, right? Most of us get involved.
When it's not right, we struggle to keep the lights on. I saw more for myself. And somebody getting rid of the financial tools, more for themselves. Join the official bank of the NBA. SoFi. Get your money right.
Huge news. Son for just $3. Wait, I said son of. What are the words? Son of Bacon Eater is.
That's like a taco, though, okay? You know.
Gotta be Wendy's.
It's more.
You gonna straighten up? I'll give myself a moment to go straighten up. This has nothing really to do with it. This is kind of, I might not even keep this in, but I think the real reason is sumo wrestling is not more popular in Western countries is because of Christianity. Even just the art, all of the paintings had all of the nude bodies everywhere. Transfer over to Christianity, all of these people, they keep all of the structures and the paintings and everything. But what do? They paint these leaves over top of the groin, and they start covering up all the indecent parts of the body. And now we've had this happen for so long that everybody's like, oh, you can see one of that guy's butt cheeks? Absolutely not. That accompanied with the fact that you have, over time, this meta change into these insanely large men, which probably weren't the original people who put watching in very, very small outfits. And people who are accustomed to not seeing anything are now seeing much more than they ever thought. And that's what's the popularized part of sumo. So you're like, oh no, yeah, I'm out. Okay, this one I actually kind of figured out by accident. I've always had this hunch that this was the case, but there's actually a little bit of historical evidence that would suggest that's the truth. There was sumo in the Japanese Middle Ages, 1185 to 1603, and then during the Edo period it was actually banned for a little bit. But after sumo started to make a resurgence, there was this U.S. naval officer. His name was Matthew Perry. He was in Japan to create a relationship with the U.S. and Japan and de-isolation.
I should
He was
probably
also
get some
arrested in
space.
this expedition, and he found it distasteful. Can you imagine why?
I should
He
either
described him as stone-fed
get some
people,
space or
he publicly looked
get
down
close
on
enough to
himself,
wrestle.
but his personal
Or close
tribe
enough to
had
elbow.
like 60 lines of a sport that he thought was foolish. And Japanese paintings showed the Americans being enthralled by the sport. So it's very possible that much like today in my experience, Americans think sumo is really cool, but have a hard time getting past clothes and the size. Just a little rant I like to make.
Are you getting a point? What'd you get a point for?
Alright, so our next one, wrestling and the history of wrestling, I think is incredibly cool.
Even before medieval and feudal, we're talking about tribal times. We're talking about the beginning of man. When they settle disputes with each other, you can't bash every single person in your tribe that you disagree with a rock. If the question was, can I hold you down? I can. So,
Yeah.
don't matter. That to me is the history of wrestling. I think it began before written history. People wrestle each other to establish dominance, control, or just have fun. It's
The
also
difference
fun.
between the snap head kick and an actual turnover kick.
But here's why.
Hi, Kyle.
The history of wrestling is bullshit. You can put your feet up in some stirrups and squeeze out two kids, and 2 years from now, they will be wrestling each other for all of those reasons.
For that, I think I have to give you a point. And because I was so smart to agree with you, I got the one.
It's your show.
Not gonna lie, Mike's a smart guy. I'm kind of surprised he didn't pick up on the point system by now.
Okay, well, karate I can definitely speak on because I am a yellow belt in karate. So, are we talking, wrestling, I'm not chopping a bull karate?
I probably would prefer
Because you would definitely have to give me a point if you think that something I'm out and chop the bull and it's like, hey, this is
what we're doing.
karate probably has the biggest bite out of both rich history and proven efficacy besides like wrestling and boxing. You know what I mean? Like, what? Am I not right?
No, I feel like you're giving it a lot of credit.
I'll explain why that makes the history of karate bullshit.
Whew.
I think what
Good form. I'm trying, Keo. I'm trying to improve the form.
that was pretty tough and pretty mean and figured out that if you keep a good stance and stay light on your feet and your balance and you throw your punches straight and you yell when you throw them, you will beat the absolute shit out of anybody that doesn't know how to run onto your wrestling. That's a fact.
Oh, I figured you were going to mention Kata.
Do we need to? Yeah, I mean, if you run it by here, so I guess, yeah, so Kata's bullshit. Were you gonna tell me the going times? You know, we did this, we did this, we did this.
It is my very brief understanding. The kata is actually just supposed to be like an anaerobic exercise of things that you've already learned and practice by yourself.
100%. That's exactly what kata is. And just like it should be about 4 to 5 minutes of your practice session.
Before it was called karate, started in Okinawa, fighting each other, punch, kick. Japan then has judo, jiu-jitsu, a lot of grappling-based martial arts are like punch, kick. That's pretty cool. And then, which I think is like
Except
my
I
favorite
fell.
part of karate history is
I don't know what's he doing. What's the dog doing? I'm just doing kung fu.
kind of the way like wrestling is here.
What's the
So then you have a bunch of, I think what is the largest influx of people doing kata were the peons in, I don't know if it's elementary school, high school, but it's a form of like 5 katas. So most of the katas are being done by kids who haven't learned all of the practical application beforehand, or even if there were intended practical applications. Because you're supposed to learn everything, you're supposed to learn how to fight beforehand, and then you start practicing the kata on your own rather than being taught the kata alongside of learning how to fight.
This is what happens, Seth. This is
Oh,
the
is that
history
money?
of martial arts. This is the history of the world. This is what makes the world go round. It's money, Seth.
I thought it was a
It's
tiny
money.
Which to me comes down to systemization.
As soon as you start to maximize how many students you can teach this to, the art itself goes downhill. You can see it in any aspect of life. If you make food that's designed to be eaten by 1,000 people, it's not going to be as good as the one steak you make yourself. In order to adapt a martial art to be practiced by everyone, you have to change the standards. Not everyone's body is capable of the same thing, and not everybody wants the same thing. So for our last section of historical changes, systemization to me includes like karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, wushu, and we'll also put Wing Chun in here. There's definitely more. Pretty much any popular martial art. Having hundreds of thousands, millions of practitioners means you have to have a lot of structure or everything will fall apart. Having that structure confines thinking. It creates rule sets that allow for butt scooting. It also means that you kind of start to only practice with people that are practicing exactly what you're practicing, which was not the intended beginning of any of these martial arts. I guarantee it. I think people in the future will look back and try to decipher what led to the butt scooting, or led to the loud key eyes and running away, led to the oil checks. I'm so curious about that one, because it's just leverage. Yeah, sure, buddy. Smell your finger and tell me that again.
There's no mystery anymore. There's no mystery, and it's this that did it. This removed all the mystery. We're required to rely on the accounts of people with a vested interest in telling their version. You know, the victor's always right history.
Okay, I have to take my dog outside. She wanted to go outside real quick. Maybe he's simulating an attack from different. I am trying to just like shadow box and just kind of like. This is the arm punching, and the reach is bigger than mine because I'm trying to reach back here. Because I'm trying. And then I'm trying to get kung fu techniques in where I'm like.
Little girl, you're not going to learn this. You're going to have to scroll. He's going to take you down. You're going to have to establish guard, and he's going to pass it anyway.
Except this leg is harder to kick with.
To get you a gun in your waistband.
I have to make sure that I open up my hips when I kick. A high kick like that anyway.
The history is written by liars. The history is written by oppressors. The history is written by murderers. History is written by the corrupt. History is written by the rich. History is written by people with an interest in keeping us ignorant. That's who writes history. So if you subscribe to the idea that martial arts history is important for your practice of martial arts history, it's just bullshit. I wish I had a more eloquent way to put this. It's bullshit. That's the perfect word. Bullshit.
Free radicals are everywhere. Protect yourself against the withdrawal.
The new Boost Mobile will have unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 per month. And with you, nothing. That is the kind of voice back. So, okay, fine, quick right now. I will still get it. Yeah, but are you quitting? No, what are you quitting?
Silverado and the Duramax 3-liter turbo diesel.
Choose to have a black belt in any martial art, which one would you choose? Judo, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, karate? While each of them focus on different subsets.
Lobby.
Stuff along the way. Let's start at the tip of the iceberg.
dangerous. Now here's the difference. Smallest in the world, 3 Caesar names. So what's in the flesh? You
Ah.
about that? So many people do.
Except I threw the kick falling again like an idiot.
As the uploads continued, something strange became apparent. Over just 4 months, Mead grew visibly weaker. Despite the odd video titles, most of his content was centered on his spiritual journey and devotion to God and Jesus. Then, in one video, Mead disclosed his deteriorating health, a cancerous tumor that started as a toothache and could hopefully be treated with surgery.
As you've seen some of my videos,
Oh, wow.
or will, you've noticed a man, not so young, but with a swollen jaw on the right side.
His uploads continued as his condition visibly worsened, leading to his final video on October 21st, 2014,
That's sad.
ominously titled 10-Hour Surgery Tomorrow. The description of the video was a request to his viewers for credit for himself and his medical team. The video itself has no audio, and there's no way to exactly know what he says in it. After that, the channel went radio silent with no more uploads or updates. It's widely believed that Bill Mead sadly didn't survive the surgery, leaving behind a legacy captured in a series of YouTube videos. Level 2. Hawaii Missile Scare. Amidst heightened tensions between the U.S. and North Korea over nuclear weapons, Hawaii
Oh,
Emergency Management
threw my body at it.
Agency accidentally triggered an emergency alert that caused widespread panic across the state. On the 13th of January 2018, the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency issued an emergency alert prompting people to take immediate shelter. The message stating ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii, seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. Was enough to make people stop and run for their lives. What's even odder is the fact that the government of Hawaii did not release a follow-up statement confirming or denying the alert for the next 38 minutes. The people of Hawaii were understandably hopeless and desperate. Naturally, this was an uncontrollable emotion amongst the residents and tourists alike. People ran for shelter, some in flip-flops, while others called loved ones in despair. Residents described the situation as hopeless, spending those agonizing minutes fearing the worst and hoping for military intervention. After 40 minutes of literal hell, a second alert from the government finally declared the initial warning a false alarm, stating, "False alarm. There is no missile threat or danger to the state of Hawaii. Repeat, there is no
That's dumb.
missile
I gotta
threat
keep my
or
hands to
danger to the state of Hawaii. False alarm." Following the incident, a combined military investigation was carried out. It was revealed that the incident stemmed from a miscommunication during a routine drill. The employee responsible for sending the alert misunderstood the instructions, believing the scenario was real. He reportedly failed to hear the part of the exercise explicitly identifying it as a drill. The individual was later dismissed from their position. Thankfully, no one was physically injured in the uproar.
I have to throw that kick with my hip.
Ultimately managed to expose vulnerabilities in the state's emergency alert system. She's still sleeping. Timothy Birmingham. Timothy Birmingham is a food reviewer on YouTube known for his simplistic and down-to-earth videos. For the most part, Timothy comes across as a wholesome man enjoying life and filming himself eating food.
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Cooking with Timothy. Tonight gonna be having air fried pork chops.
However, in January 2015, things took a darker turn when he uploaded what seemed to be a routine vlog. The video began with Timothy filming his wife, apparently sleeping soundly in bed. He then left the room, remarking on how unusual it was for her to sleep so late. Turning the camera to the clock, he showed it was already noon, commented that she would typically be up by then, either on her computer or busy with something else. What he sadly didn't realize
Like,
that his wife had passed away.
to me, these are all things that work with boxing gloves on. So when people are like, oh, you know, kung fu doesn't work with gloves on, or they don't want to spar in because they think that kung fu won't work. That's not true. It can all be close fist things that I do that don't require me to grab anything. Like if I was just kickboxing, And I'm still doing kung fu. I'm still doing these particular motions. You know, I'm just tightening them up because I know somebody's actually gonna hit me. So I have to get in close. So instead of being like, it's in, and then back, punch, punch, back. So it just makes sense to turn those kung fu motions into more applicable boxing things. And then when I don't wear gloves, then I can do whatever I smack and slap and hammer fist. I can do whatever.
Dragonlord was known for being outspoken and opinionated about things he did not have much of an idea about. And that was actually what got him in trouble with the trolls. He was generally unliked by the public, and they unfortunately took their dislike to an unprecedented level, going as far as doxing and harassing him. His own decisions that followed weren't much smarter either. Dragonlord would actively threaten, insult, and challenge trolls to come get him at his house, even going as far as sharing his address. The entire property became a target for trolls. They dubbed his house the Dragon Bunker and turned vandalizing it into a game. They egged it, threw garbage inside, and even smashed his windows with bricks, calling it Dragon Cave. Things kept spiraling out of control for Dragonlord, and he was clearly losing a part of himself, his very unwanted and cursed vein. His mental health deteriorated to the point where he began carrying sticks and randomly attacking unrelated people. He was exponentially spiraling down, his content reflected. Over the course of his controversial career, Dragonlord was arrested multiple times, leading to a 2-year prison sentence. He lost government and personal opportunities, ultimately hitting a dead end. Eventually, he was also banned from the street, was forced to sell his house, and to move away. He now lives a quieter life, but does occasionally run into trouble with trolls. While Dragonlord himself may not be an entirely sympathetic character, the harassment he endured cannot be justified. Level 3. Jacqueline AIDS.
Okay.
Jacqueline AIDS, in that petition for Paradise Valley, took her love bombing a bit too far when she suggested that
Holy shit.
stalking
It almost hit me in the face. Holy shit. When I was bringing it around, I didn't cover my face well enough. So it ricocheted. It almost got me in the eye. It got my poor glasses. My glasses are taking such a beating.
Apparently, the date wasn't as successful as Ames thought, and the man told her to not contact him again. For some reason, she took that as a sign.
But the fact that I got that close to my face means I messed up. It's not anything else. It's not anyone's fault but my own.
She was constantly stalking and bothering him, and even went as far as to threaten him with the very texts she considered a profession of her love. She reportedly told the man she was going to bathe in his blood and wear his fascia and skulls and bones. Those threats became increasingly more violent. She even went as far as saying she'd make sushi out of his kidneys and steaks out of his bones. Ultimately, though, when AIDS was finally arrested by the police and consequently interrogated, there was definitely something not right with her. Her interview was riddled with contradictions and unpredictable statements.
So the rest of the question is how did you complete? How did you
She had no intention of hurting the man she loved, but also stated that she was going to do it if he ever left her. She was under the impression that they were in a fully committed relationship, with her even going as far as calling herself his wife. Her interviews clearly showed the deep-rooted mental health issues with AIDS. As a result, when she was evaluated by mental health professionals, they confirmed that she was intelligent and ultimately her charges were dropped. What AIDS thought was her magical happily ever after turned out not so magical after all. Robert Fulton's School Exploration. Urbex Hill is an urban explorer known for going to the creepiest, most dangerous looking locations.
snap.
Robert Fulton Elementary School in Cleveland, Ohio,
Hold that.
is known for being a hotspot for plenty of criminal activity. The
I'll
school
put you in a wheelchair. Thank you.
massive and is absolutely surprised that it's
Thank you.
filled
Please
with
take care of me
smart
as I get older and decay. Don't put me in a home.
didn't expect was such a hands-on.
It'll be like a Jake Paul, Mike Tyson situation.
You can see him casually exploring the building and sometimes panning the camera at ominous writings on the wall. Something along the lines of warnings that say, don't explore alone. However, at the end of the video, Urbex Hill gives a strange sound from the distance. Some sort of shuffling startles him. He follows the sound and comes to a makeshift room covered with a yellow curtain. When he pulls the curtain aside to get inside, he hears an absolutely horrific, chill-inducing shriek that evokes the YouTuber's
Take you from
flight
my
and instantly
clothes.
runs away. The voice continues for a few seconds until Urbex Hill is out of the man's private space. The YouTuber is visibly shaken as he runs down the stairs and tries to exit the building as fast as possible. He ends the video by adding a clip from his exploration footage, clearly showing a man in the general area of the building walking across one of the roads. Intruder caught on camera. During the peak COVID months, a TikTok video went viral for all the wrong reasons. It was uploaded by a woman named Hannah Viverect, who had no idea her ordinary day
Hilton is bringing you more new ways to stay than ever before. With all new places, there's all new experiences to enjoy. Hilton for the stay.
You're still great, Grandpa.
See, told you.
Airpro Comfort, offering flexible financing and rebates on qualifying systems. Call today.
Watch this. Transformers 1 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. Unbelievable! It's the last
Just on this unbelievable sequel.
Oh my god, how many commercials am I gonna get?
Probably a Vegas showgirl. Then I was craving something sporty.
Takes such a terrifying turn. Hannah's TikTok channel was her creative outlet, often featuring videos of her dancing as a form of expression. On November 22nd, 2020, she was filming one such routine when she glanced at her balcony door and froze. Standing on her balcony door was a man in a red shirt trying to make his way into Hannah's apartment. Like any reasonable person, Hannah panicked and demanded to know who he was. She muttered something in Spanish before chillingly asking, "Am I your friend?"
Please get out. No, please get out.
Things escalated as he opened her door and began stepping inside. Hannah, thinking quickly, grabbed her camera, told him to leave, and ran to her neighbor's door where she called 911. The intruder was identified as Angel Moises Rodriguez Gomez, a resident in the building across from Hannah within the same apartment complex. After the incident, Hannah recounted previous encounters where Rodriguez Gomez had made her and another woman in the complex uncomfortable. She also recalled another incident from a few months back when she found a maintenance notebook lying by her couch near the front door. She said she found it in the middle of the night and it spooked her out so much that she instead. Fortunately, the only thing they could do at the time was change her locks for peace of mind. In hindsight, it was clear Rodriguez Gomez had likely entered her apartment before and left behind subtle yet horrifying evidence of his presence. Rodriguez Gomez was eventually arrested on multiple charges, including stalking, burglary, and property destruction. Despite this, Hannah chose to move to a new apartment, a decision no one could blame her for. Anakao Tungiavalu, a parent's worst nightmare became a reality for this New Zealand couple in 2017 when they woke up to find their newborn baby missing in a cot. Just 11 days after the birth of their baby, the couple went through hell when they realized their daughter had been kidnapped. Fortunately, the entire crime was captured on their backdoor CCTV camera.
Oh man.
It's as horrifying
Can't really punch it hard. There's nothing to punch. Can't really punch it hard. You know, not much I can do about it.
In a bag filled with stolen items. According to reports, a few hours after the kidnapping and robbery, the couple's evening nanny made a commotion to alert them of what was going down. Police immediately called, and a massive search operation was launched. Fortunately, the baby was found within hours and safely returned to her parents. 19-year-old Sydney and Tolapapa were taken into custody, but the investigation revealed a shocking twist. The mastermind behind the kidnapping was the very nanny who had alerted the parents of the robbery in the first place. 21-year-old Nadine Faye and Manukau Tomiavalde were involved with the couple for just 3 days, had reportedly been acting suspiciously for months. She'd been fabricating her own pregnancy and lying to her family, claiming that she and her boyfriend were expecting a baby boy. Nadine even went so far as to arrange her own baby shower. Eventually, when her due date came closer and she still didn't have a baby in hand, Nadine spun another lie, claiming her child had been taken away. She was desperate to give up her lie and eventually convinced her 19-year-old son, Tolapapa, to help her.
Turn kick. Turn out some pretty method shit.
Tolapapa was under
Really?
the impression that
There's
she
a
was
couple motions I want.
in her own
Like-
baby bag. Nadine was sentenced to 3 years in prison for her role in the crime, while her cousin was released without conviction. The Hidden Trap House in Northern California. Hidden rooms and secret entryways are all fun and games in escape rooms or video games.
I have to step all the way through.
With
With
zero
me.
inventory and suspicious-looking items, they hid very
I could do it like that.
Take the case
The
of
technique is
Cleaner in rural
here,
Northern California, who had a
and then
job
switch
defending
feet, right?
a very odd-looking
But sometimes you
house
just can't
in
switch
Oakland.
feet. It doesn't make any sense to switch
Started
feet.
as a routine
Because if I get this, I'm framing off you. I step to the side and then do it.
Not knowing how to process the situation,
I've never,
tired spirit
I've done it while sparring, but I've never just gone here, here. I've always been frame on the person, step to the side, boom, or boom, or push them, then then something else, you know. It's never been just the motion by itself.
The interior of the house was uncoordinated, but nothing raised any alarms until they discovered the first hidden room. It was completely concealed beneath the master bedroom floor, hidden behind a nailed-down, massively heavy door. Opening it revealed a staircase leading to a room with handmade bunk beds and filthy mattresses. But that wasn't the worst of it. The room had cabinets and also an old wooden stove with contents in it. As suspicious
If I was flexible enough, I could do that kick.
The cleaner found
I'm not flexible enough.
was
We're gonna have to work on it.
disturbing that they immediately contacted law enforcement. They didn't disclose what they found, but some speculated it could have been human remains or something equally sinister, given how quickly the police got involved. It didn't end there. More hidden rooms were uncovered in the attic, featuring similar bunk beds and cabinets. None of the rooms had plumbing or electricity, adding to the unsettling find. The case gained attention in 2020, but has since gone cold. The original Facebook post included a chilling comment from another user warning others to stay away from the property, entirely considering how the area was known for being a hotspot for suspicious activities and active cults.
But the reality is, bring that shit down, replace it.
What started as an ordinary day in
And
Delhi, Indiana, took a tragic turn on February 13, 2017, that left an entire tight-knit community broken and scared.
Looks like it's more of a
Abigail Williams and Bobby German
swallow
were
and
two
spit.
average teenagers with big dreams and a whole lot to give to the world. They were the best of friends and were known to be joined at the hip at all times. Like every other normal teenager, one day in the afternoon of February 13th, Liberty and Abigail decided to take a short trip on the local trails they had known since they were children. Throughout their little excursion, the girls
We've been doing this for an hour and 30 minutes, right?
by family through social media, which showed that they were posting and being active until 3 p.m. Unfortunately, when Libby's grandfather went to pick them up from their trip at 4 p.m., they failed to show up. Initially, their absence did not raise too many alarms in their family's heads, since they were, after all, teens, and being a little late would matter
was underway. What seemed like a normal teenage disappearance took a turn for the worst. Tragically, Abigail and Liberty's bodies were discovered near the Monument Ridge Trail in Delphi Historical Trails. This sent the entire Titan community into shock. The only evidence police had was a video from one of the girls' phones that showed a man walking towards them and saying, "Get off the hill." For years, despite thousands of tips and witness statements, the case remained unsolved. However, the investigation gained new momentum in 2022 when a man named Richard Allen was taken into custody. Allen, who had reportedly been on the trail the same day as the girls, claimed he was there to watch the
I
bear.
need to keep my hands tight.
Wearing clothing resembling that of the man in the video. And one very critical piece of evidence linked him to the crime. A .40 caliber unspent round was found near the girl's body at the initial crime scene, and investigators managed to match it to the gun owned by Allen. Witnesses also reported seeing his truck parked near the trails that day. Richard Allen was ultimately charged with the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Mysterious doll on the river. The discovery of a massive doll floating in the Rio Grande River has left locals and internet users baffled. What made the incident truly unsettling was the state of the doll. It was wrapped in a sack made to resemble a corpse and was eerily oversized. The doll was initially brought up in a Reddit post. The original poster talked about the doll's grotesque features and an apparition in the very fire it was burned in. The most disturbing details were its claw-like bony fingers, large beady eyes, and a gaping mouth that gave it an eerie, lifelike appearance. This was no ordinary toy. Naturally, the Reddit post sparked a wave of theories. Some leaned towards the supernatural, claiming it was a demon in disguise. Others suggested it was a prop for a horror film. What made people assume it was a prop was the doll's eerie similarity to Slappy from the Goosebumps series. The doll in the series was a ventriloquist dummy with the exact same gaping mouth and eyes, although smaller in size. This led many to believe it was either a Halloween decoration or a horror-themed prop. More practical theories included the possibility of it being an animatronic from a fortune-telling machine or an illusionist prop usually kept in circuses and amusement parks. Still, the supernatural angle surrounding it was the most favored by the internet, which was further fueled by what happened after the doll was removed from the river. Locals, uneasy about the doll, burned it shortly after its retrieval, which only added to the mystery. Some claimed to see a face in the flames, while others speculated the act of burning was part of an ancient ritual or witchcraft native to the region. Strangely, the doll remained largely intact despite being set on fire, retaining its creepy features, a detail that left even skeptics questioning its origin. Whether it's a prop, a ritual object, or something otherworldly, one thing's for sure, the doll is as creepy as they come.
Business taxes all consumer. Business taxes is having a TurboTax expert who handles your taxes for you with year-round advice at no extra cost. Now this is taxes.
Sonic Bun 99 made just got funner with a Jimmy Deluxe burger, small loaves, and French toast sticks for only $1.99 each. And yes, funner is a word because proper grammar.
I'm a big strong guy with words. Level 4. Fatal Lexus crash.
Oh boy, that's a whole video. Holy, holy, but totally.
The audio of a 911 call that ends in tragedy. The call comes from Chris Lascarella, who, along with his family, had just wrapped up a week-long vacation. The loaner 2009 Lexus sedan they were driving lost control on the highway, leading to the tragic deaths of everyone in the car. The driver was Mark Sayer, a California highway
but not quite.
The haunting 911
Well, it's like a snap
call
cake, but it wasn't like a Muay Thai cake where you throw
the
your momentum on it.
operator detailing the stuck accelerator failed brakes. His final moments, he tells his family just seconds before the impact. The car pulled multiple times before coming to a stop in the dry riverbed on the side of the road where it instantly caught fire, likely due to the swirl of brakes. Friends and relatives of the family later commented that it seemed unthinkable for Mark Saylor, a seasoned CHP officer, to have been unable to stop the car. This detail fueled outrage, ultimately pressuring Toyota into issuing one of the largest recalls in its history. They blamed the crash on all-weather floor mats, which were replaced for nearly 10 million.
Go hit me in the face.
Whatever the root cause of the crash, it doesn't change the devastating fact that an entire family lost their lives due to negligence. Water drinking contest. In 2007, a woman from Sacramento, California, took part in a radio competition known as Hold Your Weed for a Week. The seemingly harmless contest challenged participants to drink as much water as possible for a chance to win a Nintendo Wii. When the radio staff either didn't know or didn't care enough to research the dangers of over-consuming water. Something that seems harmless, even beneficial, can quickly become life-threatening if overdone. Drinking too much water can cause water intoxication, which may lead to brain swelling and, in very rare cases, death. Unfortunately for Texas, he became one of those rare cases. A loyal fan of the radio station that had organized the challenge, the 28-year-old entered the competition in hopes of winning a Nintendo Wii for her 3 kids. Contestants were given small half-pint bottles to drink from, and Jennifer managed to consume about 2 gallons of water during the 3-hour event. Throughout the competition, Jennifer complained about severe stomach pain and feeling unwell, but the DJ laughed it off. The contest ended with her earning 2nd place and winning tickets to a Justin Timberlake concert.
Well,
Tragically, just hours later, Jennifer was found unresponsive to battery. Jennifer Strainer passed away
So I stayed
in February 2007
too long. Has to
due
be
water
one,
intoxication, leaving everyone who knew her devastated and heartbroken.
3.
The family, understandably furious, ultimately sued the radio station for its recklessness.
I can't just
They
stay
told it even more disturbing
in the sort of same spot, same zone. I have to be in and out, I think, or at least keep changing angles.
have been warned multiple times.
Otherwise, you're just kind of a sitting target, and from my experience, I usually get hit when that happens.
The contest to warn them about potential risks, only to be dismissed.
And it's tough to always, until it's second nature. People moving.
The DJs were heard on air saying the participants had signed waivers, so the station bore no responsibility. One particularly chilling moment from the event features a DJ joking, "Your body is 98% water. Why can't you take in more?" Adding insult to injury, Jennifer had not been informed of any potential risks before participating. Jennifer's family sued the station for gross negligence, ultimately winning their case. But no courtroom victory could undo the devastating loss of mother and daughter, taken from what should have been an innocent competition. 2017, Wichita SWAT. SWAT, calling in fake emergencies to dispatch armed police, has plagued the online world for years. However, this one swatting incident in 2017 over a mere $1.50 wager in a Call of Duty game led to a tragic and entirely avoidable death of a completely innocent man. It was an online feud
Yeah, I should have been
between Minor and Shane
here.
Gadsden, sparked by a lost
Here.
Call of Duty match and a small monetary bet.
And then,
Their argument escalated
Oh,
on
that
Twitter
shit.
with Minor threatening to swat Gaskill. Gaskill took things further and taunted him by providing an address, though it wasn't his own. Unbeknownst to Minor, the address belonged to a completely unrelated man, Andrew Finch, father of 2 living in Wichita, Kansas. Minor enlisted the help of Tyler Barris, a known swatter who went by the online alias Swatistic, to make the call. Barris, no stranger to making hoax emergency calls, spun Practically within moments,
So I gotta not lose my balance.
shot Finch, claiming he believed Finch was reaching for a weapon. The bullet struck Finch in the chest, killing him within 17 minutes. The incident caused waves of outcry amongst the Wichita residents. Some expressed concerns over the unprofessional, negligent, and downright deadly attitude of the cops. Others highlighted the dangers of swatting and demanded stricter measures against the perpetrators. While Officer Rapp faced no criminal charges, those involved in the swatting plot were held accountable. Meanwhile, Ferris was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Viner and Gaskill, the instigators of this tragedy, received 15 and 18 months, respectively. Andrew Finch was an innocent man caught in the crossfire of a $1.50 grudge that cost him his life. This simply proves just how dangerous online feuds people willing to escalate them can be. Philip Schwab. Philip Schwab, a 33-year-old man suffering from severe mental illness, was arrested after police discovered the brutally murdered body of his girlfriend, Blue, buried in a shallow grave in his backyard. On June 23, 2019, police were dispatched to Schwab's residence in response to a welfare check requested by Blue's friends and family. They were concerned by her sudden disappearance from work and a lack of contact. Feared the worst. When officers arrived, Schwab led them straight to the backyard to a recently dug shallow grave and flowers. Police had also noticed blood splattered inside the house, confirming their suspicions that this was no ordinary welfare.
There we go.
Aileen Blue was known by friends and family as a kind and optimistic woman. Just a day before her murder, she had shared an optimistic and cheerful Facebook status, stating she was happy to spend the evening at home.
Need to learn to either get space or just grapple the person to the ground. At that point, when I'm that close.
Completely opposite of Caitlin. He had dozens of posts hinting toward the murder, with most of them being completely deranged and remorseless. She deserves a murder, he wrote in one of the posts. Reports revealed the gruesome details of the murder. In the middle of the night, Schwab attacked Blue while she slept, plunging a knife into her neck. Despite her attempt to fight him off or escape, she was repeatedly stabbed before succumbing to her injuries. Schwab then buried her body in the backyard. He also killed their two dogs and threw their remains in a garbage bin. When asked about the motive, Schwab didn't seem to have any solid reason. He said that Blue had a habit of crashing in her sleep and had hit him multiple times that night. This potentially irked him into doing the unthinkable. Given the brutality of the crime and the death penalty, many expected Schwab to receive the maximum sentence. However, he was later diagnosed with the George syndrome, a rare genetic disorder linked to severe mental health issues. This diagnosis ultimately spared him the death penalty. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Level 5. Nokia 2-on-2. 2009. An anonymous person named Nokia 2-on-2 made his identity known on the technical crime forum known as hack forums.
So I don't leave myself so exposed. Stuff. Stuff.
His arrival quickly altered the dynamic of the site thanks to his generous nature. He was known for posting gigs on the forum that required the expertise of its members. He was also known for compensating very well for these gigs, which earned him respect from the forum's members. However, Nokia 2-on-2's job postings, which initially started off as harmless, quickly became downright dubious. This raised suspicions across the forum about his whereabouts and origins. Nokia 2-on-2 started off as an investor interested in buying ideas from the forum's members, ideas that were quirky and different. But soon, it changed to him commissioning people for mass hacking, deleting social media accounts, and fabricating information. Despite being very active on a hacking forum, Nokia 2-on-2 was unfortunately not as tech-savvy as he thought he was. Around 2016, his hack forums account disappeared, which triggered an online hunt to figure out who he really was. He had left behind very visible traces of his identity, and was soon discovered that he was Saud al-Qahtani.
Eat America's new favorite chicken sandwich. Order it
Commercial after commercial. Holy shit.
The royal court advisor to the now ruler of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. While al-Qahtani was officially a court advisor, he was also the head of the Saudi Arabia Intervention Force, a group used to keep Saudi citizens and officials in check by any means necessary. They used their influence to demean, force, and coerce individuals when against the interests of the Saudi government. Al-Qahtani was known for monitoring journalists and was even reportedly involved in the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, a dissident journalist who was killed in 2018. Al-Qahtani, while initially one of the prime suspects in the murder, was be cleared of any charges despite having clear intelligence. In the end, it's chilling to think that someone who once lurked in online forums could be just another tech enthusiast, actually masterminding some of the most horrific acts of control and violence. Cassie Jo Stoddard murder. Narcissists' need for fame can be projected onto the world in different ways. The Cassie Jo Stoddard murder reminds us that even the most harmless looking people among us can go to extreme lengths for the need to be seen by the world. Cassie Jo Stoddard was a 16-year-old who was house sitting for her aunt and uncle when two of her classmates broke in and brutally hurt her. They were reportedly influenced by different horror movies and wanted to recreate a real-life scenario where they would kill someone.
I'm just gonna try. I'm just trying, baby.
Cassie Jo Stoddard
Let's
was the
go.
victim they chose. The day of the murder, Cassie invited her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, and her classmates, Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk, to the house to hang out. She gave them a tour of the house and they settled down to watch a movie. Eventually, Draper and Adamczyk left the house claiming they were going to the theater, leaving Cassie alone with Matt. The two returned after a while, fully equipped and ready to kill both Cassie and potentially Matt. They entered the house from its basement and stayed there for a considerable amount of time trying to lure the couple downstairs. They made noises and cut off the power in hopes that the two would eventually come to fix it. When that didn't happen, they gave up momentarily and turned the power back on. After a few hours, Cassie's boyfriend was picked up by his mom, and Cassie was left alone in the house. Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk finally took this as a chance to reveal what they were doing. This time, they managed to get Cassie downstairs. They then attacked her in the most brutal way, stabbing her approximately 30 times. Afterward, the boys disposed of the clothes and weapons they used, allegedly burning them nearby. Draper and Adamczyk's trial revealed just how obsessed they were with the idea of being infamous. Their creepy videos made it clear that they were preparing for something like this. Both received life sentences without the possibility of parole. Travis the Chimp. The ownership of exotic animals has always been a hot topic, with many people rightfully calling for a ban. There's no better example of why this law is needed than the horrific events of February 2009. The chimpanzee, once thought to be tame and humanized, attacked a woman, leaving her severely disfigured and injured. The attack set off a chain of events that are still remembered today. There's no question that Travis wasn't your average cat. Raised almost his name made people believe he was incredibly smart. He drank wine, wore clothes, and even knew how to drive.
He drank wine. They gave a fucking chimpanzee wine. That's crazy.
Around him and had no prior history of being violent to anyone. Despite all of that, Travis was still, at the end of the day, a wild animal. On what seemed like a normal day at Sandra Harold's home, Travis suddenly turned on Charlotte Nash, a close friend of Sandra's. The attack was vicious and unrelenting and left Charlotte with catastrophic injuries to her face and hands. Sandra was desperate to stop the assault and did everything she could think to stop him, far as to hitting and stabbing him. She later told interviewers how much hurting Travis had traumatized her.
It's horrible. This
at their vehicle, forcing them to shoot. Despite being hit, he managed to retreat into the house where he collapsed in his cage moments later.
That's sad.
The attack ended, but the damage was done.
That's sad. Chimpanzees in captivity. That shit makes me sad.
Physical and emotional toll was unimaginable. She endured multiple surgeries, including a groundbreaking face transplant, lost her hands, her vision, and much of her mobility. Her hand transplant was eventually removed due to complications with pneumonia and poor circulation. Despite everything, Charlotte continues to survive, forever marked by the horrors she endured. On the other hand, Sandra passed away just a few months after the attack from an aortic aneurysm. The doctors claimed that she had endured a plethora of tragic events and, in the end, her heart, which had been broken so many times before, could take no more. This story isn't just about a single violent outburst. It's a reminder of the dangers of not giving animals the respect they deserve.
Okay.
Travis wasn't evil. He was just a chimpanzee forced to live a life that wasn't meant for him. Level 6. Moscow party gone wrong. Ekaterina Didenko, a Russian influencer and pharmacist with more than 1 million followers on Instagram, had her entire life turned
That was
upside
close.
down on her birthday. A day that was meant to be celebrated quickly became one of the most dreadful days of her life, when her husband and 2 close friends died in a dry ice incident at her birthday.
Dry ice incident. That's fucking terrible.
Dry ice is basically solidified carbon dioxide that turns into carbon dioxide gas after changing states. CO2 gas is heavier than air and tends to stay on the lower areas of a particular room. And since it is CO2, it's naturally a suffocant that can cause instant lung problems if inhaled directly. Dry CO2 was exactly what caused the tragedy at Ekaterina Didenko's birthday
Oh,
party
shit.
in February 2022. As a neat little party trick, Ekaterina ordered it to be put inside her indoor pool for a smoke effect, and her husband, Valentin Didenko, was one of the first to jump into the pool afterward. Moments later, Valentin surfaced, flailing his arms as though he was struggling to breathe. But with the party in full swing and everyone caught up in the excitement, no one realized the danger. Instead of helping, a few other guests joined him in the pool, unaware of what was about to happen. Ekaterina Didenko's husband, Valentin Didenko, an IT specialist, died from suffocation at the hospital, while 2 other partygoers, Natalia Monakova and Yuri Alfero, were declared dead at the scene. There were other reports of multiple attendees suffering chemical burns and lung problems. Level 7. Kalamazoo home invasion. On December 1st, 2019, 21-year-old father and husband Christopher Neal tragically lost his life protecting his wife and daughter from a home intruder who held the family hostage. The entire incident was captured in a chilling 911 call made by Neal, which spiraled out of control within moments. It all began around 10 p.m. when a man named William Jones, 37, broke into the Neal family's home armed with 2 guns. Throughout the call, Neal could be heard desperately trying to calm both his wife and the intruder. The man appeared to have no clear motive for his actions. On the recording, Chris can be heard repeatedly asking the intruder what he wanted. At one point, he told his wife to take their daughter upstairs, trying to create some distance between them and the intruder. Jones demanded to speak with the 911 operator, and Chris put the call on speaker. With the 911 operator, Jones insisted multiple times that he wasn't going to hurt anyone. He also rambled on about how his life was in danger, but again, there was no clear reason or motive behind his actions. Let's be real, 2 shotguns in hand, totally different story. When officers arrived at the scene, the operator transferred the call to a deputy who tried to talk Jones down. However, Jones hung up almost immediately. Moments later, the gunshot was heard by both the 911 operator and Chris's wife.
It's kind of crazy, but I've almost been doing this for 2 hours.
While Chris
Bushido martial arts. No, you can check out my channel. I have sparring footage on like with actual people at an actual MMA school. It's just that I do kung fu and you don't train, so that's your opinion of martial arts. You just think Bushido because you don't train, so therefore you don't know. But if you look at my channel under videos tab, you'll see that I've competed in a couple of things and I sparred people that are better than me and not better than me. So I don't know. Don't really see the Bushido there, bud. But it is the internet, so you're allowed to say whatever.
It happened on December 5th, 2009, an event that was initially regarded as a regular celebration party with over 300 attendees. Everything was going as planned until the event manager decided to light indoor fireworks for that extra bling. The problem was the club was cutting angle and had
It's
plastic
just,
ceilings decorated with
is there Bushido? Why can that not work? It's so simple. It's just like a simple ass punch. I wanted to cover my face and then switch. That's how real bleed one. Like that. Like there's literally, it's down deep in the videos, but there's literally a video where I'm sparring this dude, and I do that. I go, boom, boom, kind of knowing that he might dodge them or might just avoid them. It was just a setup for a kick. I went 1, 2, and then I kicked.
We'll let you build the sandwich of your dreams.
I always get
And the kick, it was like, it only worked once because obviously he knew I'd do it again because he was good. So I couldn't just
We're looking for you.
keep doing it and he just fall for it.
The maker type, the adventure type, the problem solver type. You know you're out there. You know you want a challenge. You know you want to create.
Hello and welcome to our massive internet. This
No,
is our third
that was a
video.
shit
This
kick.
one is all about our internet mysteries we've covered throughout the years. This video compiles the tail end of 2019 up to the modern day. A slight disclaimer, because some of these videos are over 3 years old, some of the information might not hold up to what we know now. It's more or less just a time capsule of how it was before a bomb was discovered. Each video will have an original upload date that prefaces it, so you know exactly when it came out. With some of our older videos, we had a final rating slide, which has since been retired, but some of these classics will have it and don't necessarily represent a true debunking of said history. Without further ado, here are some of our favorite videos. Enjoy the binge, and see you at the end. Hi, new video file. My name is Seth, and today we're going to be talking about the very strange disappearance of Shima Ueda. Now, before we had our channel here at Debug Channel, we, like essentially any other YouTuber, were avid watchers on this platform. I watched all types of channels back in the day, and one of my favorites was Danger Dolan, which is now named Planet Dolan. It is a very versatile channel. Back then they made a variety of countdowns, but now it seems that they have ventured out a bit with their surplus of credit stories and videos.
I'm thirsty.
One thing that has remained constant.
I'm thirsty
though,
and
is
tired,
the
but we keep going.
Back
Right.
at the beginning, Dolan,
2 hours
the
in.
person who we now only hear in the intros, was the narrator of the channel. That didn't
I just haven't slept.
last long,
Like, haven't slept at all. Just kind of stressed out. It's cold. Kind of want to sleep. Kind of just want to keep doing kung fu.
This narrative of the exact same person in every single video. And some of them even became very popular, like Hellman. One of these voice actors, though, was Shima Ueda. She wasn't one of the most well-known ones, perhaps by intention. That being said, though, she did amass a very dedicated fan base and had her own channel so they could see her more. She always had this slight aura of mystery as she refrained from revealing her face and was only known as an anthropomorphic cat. We never really learned too much about her either. This wasn't necessarily a bad thing, though, and for a while she was just another moon revolving around planet Dolan. This all changed in late 2016, though,
December 25th, 2016, a video titled "Do Penguins Have Knees" was uploaded.
Uh-oh.
This
Penguins
video
have
was
knees.
narrated by Shima, and it would be the final time we ever heard from her. Like we stated earlier, she had a loyal fan base, and naturally, they were incredibly worried for her. Initially, it was thought by nearly everyone that she simply left due to a broken PC, but after months and months, it became clear that this was not the answer. Over time, like expected, worries grew more and more by the day. There was so much paranoia after a while that Dolan finally had to address it. Now, when addressing it, what would you think he'd say? I don't know about you guys, but I was totally expecting him to just kind of brush it off, saying something along the lines of, "Oh, you know, she's all good, she just needed to take a break," but no, that is not what he said at all. Take a listen to what Dolan said when he first addressed the matter.
And of course, you know, Shima went missing and we still don't know where she is, so. Now, I bring this up because everyone at Planet Dolan, all day and night, 24/7, we all get messages about Shima. And I'll explain this at the end of the "Do Penguins Have Knees" video, but people obviously didn't get the message, so I have to keep letting you know
Damn.
what's going on. But I'm gonna
She literally
reiterate, I don't
vanished.
know where she is, she just vanished off the internet one day. I really hope she's okay, but you know, none of us have heard from her.
Yeah, that's a major cause for concern. They literally don't know where she is and what is going on, and even today, that still presumably remains true. Her last video on her channel was months before her last Dolan video, and her last reported sighting was just 1 month after that, where she was apparently on a community Minecraft server. That was all months before Dolan's video, and like we said, it's been all dark. Now you would think that this is all there would be to the mystery, right? Well, that's where you're wrong. Last year on Shima's YouTube wiki account, somebody by the name of Rare Kirby commented on her profile saying that on December 11th of 2017, she tragically passed away. He even linked an article, which unfortunately isn't available to us anymore. He knows this
That'd be
because
sad.
according to him, he did in fact animate a few of Dolan's videos when she was active on the channel. Doing some digging into the name Rare Kirby does actually give you results, mostly from the YouTube channel of the same name. This channel seems to stay true to his claims, as he is an animator, and the quality is quite good, definitely on par with the quality that Planet Dolan has. Unfortunately though, it's impossible to truly prove that Rare Kirby was actually an animator on Planet Dolan, despite the quality being sufficient. Each Planet Dolan video lists the animator in the description, and I looked through like 20 and I didn't see him pop up at all. I honestly don't have the patience to painstakingly look through each and every one of his videos, but if you guys happen to stumble upon his name in the credits, please make sure to comment about that. If you didn't think it could get any more wild, there was another YouTube channel that inserted itself into this mystery. This channel is literally called Shima Luan, just like the real channel. And I kid you not, it's an actual ARG. Yeah, and guess what? It's awful. It starts off normal enough with a video consisting of text, which kinda confirms all the popular theories that were thought of at the time, like her computer being broken, but oh man, does it get worse. I mean seriously, check out the videos, Geth and Alive. Geth consists of way too common use of binary, and Alive has borderline ear rape audio. This, folks, is just not how to do an ARG. The craziest thing is that a lot of people actually fell for it, and while I could kinda see someone falling for this first video, if you honestly think Shima would create ear rape style videos to basically torment your fans, well then I don't know what you were thinking. The channel also was created on April Fool's Day, so yeah, don't fall for this horrendous ARG. But let's move on. These were the main huge events that happened, at least to my knowledge. So, like always, it's time to theorize. The first video we must mention is one that has already been talked about multiple times though, and that is her passing away. If this theory were to be true, the manner in which she passed away has been widely speculated, with some going as far as saying murder. The problem is that even from the start, this theory to me has been walking on eggshells. It's been the most popular theory in this mystery for
Oh
years
man, my
now.
arm.
But why? The evidence is shaky to say the least. I mean, let's get over it for a second. We have a person who commented on a YouTube wiki stating that he worked for the channel, which has in no way been proven yet, and the link he provided, which would have been to an obituary, isn't even available. Her real name probably isn't
Right
Sheena
there.
either. But just as an attempt, I searched up the name on an obituary site, and it yielded no results. Again though, Shima probably isn't her real first name. I'm not ready to truly debunk this theory, but the odds are seriously against it big time, as not a single piece of evidence for this claim was plausible at all. So yeah, we can at least be 90% sure that she's alive. But in that case, why did she disappear? And of course, there are multiple answers to this question. Shima is often described as being a relatively shy, introverted individual, and unfortunately for her, her character was drawn in some, well, not so appropriate ways to say the least. This apparently happened extremely often too, and it's been commonly assumed that this was just way too much for her. So she disconnected herself from the internet and left Building's crew, as this really upset her. This theory is very feasible, as well, yes, these images are really common. So common, in fact, that I actually stumbled upon one, so to me it makes perfect sense that she would take offense to this, where she then unplugged herself from the world. The one other theory I've seen attempting to explain her disappearance is the fact that she was attempting to protect her privacy because someone had found out what she looked like. I found this on a Reddit thread from a few months ago where somebody asked where she went, and basically every single answer on the thread was that. That being said, I'm still left scratching my head because I have absolutely no clue how they found this out. Seriously, I researched for
Right there.
a long time and didn't
It's in
find
such a
anything
knot.
about her
Holy
face
moly.
or about this person that attempted to expose her at all. But when this many comments are saying the exact same thing, it's tough to not believe that this actually did happen. That being said, if you guys have evidence for this, please comment it down below, as it would be hugely helpful to us. Now, I'm sure there are a dozen of other minor theories as to why exactly she disappeared, but these were the ones I saw the most, so that's why I decided to analyze them. This case was truly peculiar, and unfortunately, it's undetermined. I'm not sure this is a case we will ever be able to debunk. I am 90% sure that she's still breathing. To me, she's definitely still here and is most likely healthy and well, but she disappeared for a very specific reason. Obviously, we analyzed theories about what could have exactly happened, but neither of them seem to have enough evidence to me to be fully regarded as true. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out our Instagram @DebugFile, our Twitter @TrueGif, our Discord, which the link is in the description, and even consider being a patron, where you will receive a wealth of rewards for only just $1. Also, like always, please spread this video to all of your friends. As always, my name is Seth from DebugFile. See you guys next time. Bye. Hi, welcome to DebugFile. My name is Seth, and today we're going to talk about the incredibly strange mystery, grave robbing for morons. As dark as it is to say, if you need to find anything on the internet, I mean anything, it is possible. In this particular case, I'm more so referencing tragic events like death. Online, it is surprisingly easy to find videos of, well, people dying. There are entire websites dedicated to things like this, and
That's
it's
weird.
extremely disturbing to say the least. But the internet hasn't always been around, and neither has the video, at least not for everybody to see. Now, to this day, I have no idea why there is such an infatuation with mutilation and death, but one of the first moments of public realization came in the year of 1978.
Hey guys, there's a change over here. Two changes. The 3-row luxury TX, because everyone should feel like the center of the universe.
Holy moly, that's a long commercial skip time. "44 seconds? Like, how is that a skip? How is 32 seconds acceptable for skip time? Holy moly.
sure so you guys have my style.
It's just showing me a bunch of ads. There's not letting me skip. How predatory. The ad system on YouTube feels damn right predatory at this point. Well, I skipped it into another commercial, so I didn't even get to skip anything. It was literally about to be 5 minutes of ads. That's what's insane.
Faces of Death was released in theaters, but it wasn't your average run-of-the-mill horror film. Oh no, it was anything but that. This was a documentary-style film depicting various ways to die, most of which being shown in incredibly gruesome detail. The catch? The deaths seen were real. Well, most of them at least. It's rumored that a few of the clips are fabricated, but that still means that the majority of these deaths shown are authentic, and they are incredibly disturbing, and are just as bad as the stuff you can find online today. And somehow the movie did great. It made $35 million in the box office despite being banned in multiple countries, and sold like crazy on VHS, spawning sequels and even becoming influential enough to spawn tons of direct-to-video copycats. Apparently throughout the 80s and 90s, film like Faces of Death were being sold in shops everywhere at the demand of the consumer. For some reason, people became obsessed with seeing death, possibly out of fear, and this strange fascination never let up. And while tons of these VHSs and DVDs were sold, one of them over time stood out. It was entitled Ensuring Your Place in Hell, and at the time it was just another shocking entry in the vast endless sea of copycats in this particular craze that died out with the internet, most of which being completely fake. But ironically, the rise of the internet coincided with this particular DVD's rise to internet stardom. You see, with this particular DVD, there were 4 short films in it, all between 20 to 40 minutes in length. As a side note, I want to mention that I couldn't find exactly what year Ensuring Your Place in Hell was actually released. When researching, almost everyone stated it was a VHS copy, which makes sense as all the videos inside of it are that level of quality, but I was only able to find DVD copies online. Anyways, inside you had Mortuary of the Dead, Cooking with Huck Botko, Exploding Varmints, and last but not least, Grave Robbing for Morons, which somebody uploaded to YouTube in 2014, where it quickly gained an immense amount of attention. The VHS copy is 26 minutes long, and follows this stuttering teenager or young adult whose name is Anthony, and as the title of Grave Robbing for Morons suggests, he's here to teach us how to rob a grave. Throughout the 26-minute tutorial, he mentions that he has only robbed 2 graves, but gives an incredibly detailed analysis of what he is doing. Things such as the various states of decomposition that most people really wouldn't even think of, but then on the other side of the coin, he mentions some really stupid things, like how if somebody were to catch you in action, you're supposed to knock them out with a shovel so that they just think it's a dream and they wake up. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. The most important piece in the titular video would have to be the ending. This is the moment where he name drops himself, but also the rest of the crew. Like stated earlier, his name is Anthony, the cameraman is Gino, and there are 2 other members that he name drops by the names of Bucci and Taco.
It's Anthony and Gino, okay? We worked hard, also Bucci and Taco also helped in very beginning. Me and Gino first opened it up though, alright, we opened it up, we broke it open, but the other guys helped out a lot.
Wherever he finishes with his name dropping, he mentions that someday he will rob Houdini's grave. A grave that actually has since been tampered with and damaged. And to this day, we aren't entirely sure if Houdini is even inside. However, the reason this video gained the popularity it did is because of how genuinely authentic it seems, despite that one ridiculous moment. Most notably, the skull he is holding looks incredibly realistic, but we will get back to that later. Also, if this video were to be fake, these would have to be some incredible actors right here, because to put it blunt, this kid is pretty strange. He has a hardcore stutter and his eyes and overall motions are just odd. If this kid was truly an actor, this would be some incredibly impressive work.
To make sure that authentic, or you take that interest and you make sure they're with them. So that way the person knows who this person is, alright? Alright, because sometimes you go and you risk your ass looking for somebody, alright? And somebody might be paying some serious money for it. So you have to make sure it's the real thing, okay? And you have to make sure it's the real thing. So
But up to this point, we merely scratched the surface, and now we're going to truly then actually analyzing aspects of the video inside. And this is what I found. Thanks to the website, I was able to find that somebody bought this DVD a few years ago and realized that their payment went out to a company called Serial Killer Calendar. Looking at the website in question, it seems to be a place that sells magazines and books about various serial killers. Overall, while being an interesting site, it didn't really have too much to do with selling VHSs until you look at the bottom of the site.
Like old school VHS covers? Check out our sister site, VHS Wasteland.
This is more up to speed. It confirms the fact that these people are very interested in VHSs, so it wouldn't be out of this world to see why they would sell something like this. The person I mentioned before actually got into contact with one of the figureheads of this company who sold VHSs like these on the side, but unfortunately, he knew nothing about the clips at all. So now, we have to take matters into our own hands, as per usual.
I find it crazy that it's not easy to stand still and do it. It's like at AM, yeah, it's Qigong or Tai Chi. Yeah, it's exactly that, yeah. Good call, my man. Good call, Dave. We did some more, like, boxing head movement, like try to incorporate a few kung fu moves with the boxing, with the kickboxing for 2 hours, and now we're doing just Qigong and Tai Chi. I haven't slept, so I figured I'd just do some Qigong. That way I'm not like insanely tired, and maybe I go to bed afterwards, or maybe I'll just, I don't know. Sometimes when you do Qigong long enough, or Tai Chi long enough, you don't need to sleep as much. I don't know why. It just keeps you awake, or you feel like you kind of rested, so you just kind of keep going. It's really weird. There's definitely something to it. Like, obviously, I like combat sports. And I like doing kickboxing and Muay Thai and Kung Fu and stuff, like the physical part of it. But I'll admit that there's some sort of thing that's hard to explain about Tai Chi and stuff, and Qigong, and if you legit do it every day for like 30 minutes to an hour every single day, you do sort of reap this benefit from it that is unknown until you, I guess, achieve that. So we're trying to achieve that. We're trying to achieve that right now. That if I can stream myself training every day, and 30 minutes to an hour of that is Qigong and Tai Chi, give it like 3 to 6 months, see how it actually affects my body, and see how it actually affects me as a human, and we'll gauge it from there. So if you're watching, subscribe, because this whole channel is really a giant documentation of whether this stuff works or not. That's what we're here to learn. We're here to learn whether it works or not. I recommend the documentary Ring of Fire, in Indonesian, whatever, because there's a dude there that does Qigong, does some form of Qigong and meditation, and it's weird, man. He has like weird abilities. So I want to be like that guy. Your mind, body will let you know. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to say. It's hard to describe. It's only something you just gotta practice and see how it affects you. But this dude, and this sounds wild, but this guy could like create electricity shocks from his body. And the video's super old, and it was on the Joe Rogan, my accent, Joe Rogan podcast. Mel Gibson was on there, and he apparently met this dude, and he was like talking about him. And so I looked him up, and it's this old documentary from the 90s that I've seen. It's wild. And like, it's pretty wild. I don't know how to explain it, but this guy says he can like grab his yin and yang chi and compress it in his diaphragm, and that's how he creates electricity in his body, or a type of shock. I saw that yesterday, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do that, but let's do Qigong and Tai Chi every day and see if something happens. That's hard to explain. That's what I'm about. Exactly. We don't need to learn from. We don't need to somebody else to tell us. We're gonna practice and figure it out. See if something happens through dedication. That's the goal. Like, that's the goal with the internal stuff. That's the goal with internal stuff.
If you listen to this kid talk, it is clear that he has a slight accent, which sounds like it would be from New York or New Jersey. This is incredibly important because.
And it's hard to just stand here. It's weird.
Check out this headline from the New York Times posted in late 1999. When reading, you realize that it is is about a man from
With
New
a
York
slight knee
named
bend.
Anthony Casamasima, who was arrested in 1999 for robbing art from cemeteries. That would have to be an unbelievable coincidence to have two people, both named Anthony, who both live in New York and both stole things from graves. The moment where Anthony reveals his name in the video is of much importance too, as he stutters and seems noticeably close to saying the same last name from the man in the article.
Okay, this was made by Anthony. This goes back, but let's forget the last name.
And even despite all that, I still think this is a coincidence. And this is for a number of reasons. First off, what they did was in no way similar. Yes, they both did scour graveyards, but the Anthony in our
You
video
can relax
stole
my
actual
shoulders.
skeletons, and the Anthony in this article stole items or art from cemeteries, most notably a window from Salem Fields, which he sold for $60,000. The point is, their definition of grave robbing was completely different. Then, there's the time period. The Anthony that was written about in the New York Times article was arrested in 1999, and at the time he was 40 years old, which seems too old to fit our grave robber. We can only figure out when grave robbing for morons was actually filmed. But guess what? We do have a rough estimate, thanks to a key object sitting on the desk next to him. That copy of Evil Dead 2. Now we have a starting point. The absolute
Super gassy
earliest
right
they
now.
Possibly filmed was in 1987.
I'm like pushing my diaphragm, shrinking it and expanding it. You're definitely gonna rip some ass. It's gonna happen.
But sometimes older people do sometimes have baby faces. For this to match up and be the same Anthony from the New York Times article, this footage would have to be from the earliest possible date of 1987.
You want to keep your tongue
Anthony would
on
have
the
to
roof
use
of your
a
mouth,
vehicle
on the palate of the
basically have
roof
a
palate.
baby face so that it could match. The likelihood that this recording was from the earliest possible date isn't exactly too high, and neither is Anthony just so happening to have a major baby face. Again, it is possible, but it's pretty unlikely if you ask me. There's also no mention in this article about his stutter or awkwardness, which I feel would have been at least talked about at least once if it were the same person due to how severe it was. With no image of the man anywhere, I just can't believe that it isn't the same guy. There's one other lead as to who Anthony could be, and it belongs to a YouTube commenter who said,
"The guy with the grave robberies is from Red Hook, goes by the name of Screws. He's been dead damn near 20 years now. He used to sell bones to some of the hooligans over in Sheepshead Bay. I'm surprised that no one knew that. Common knowledge by me. It's common knowledge about me. I'm from Ozone Park originally. It was from the local scuttlebutt back in the early 90s when I was a teenager. He ran a chop shop too, back in the day. Bootleg movies, knockoff clothes, you name it. That's how he got the nickname Screws. He used to screw everyone over. From what I heard, they found him over in Whitestone in a dumpster by the bridge with his knees parallel with his ears. He'd been bent backwards in the wrong direction. His head was resting against his ass.
no, the location the comment gives, like Red Hook, Ozone Park, and Whitestone, are all locations that are very accurate. But unfortunately, it's just impossible to trust a YouTube comment like this one. But thanks to Anthony's name dropping at the end of the grave digging video, we got an even greater lead. Remember how the DVD that this was originally found on features 4 short films that have no relation to each other? Well, somebody was actually able to find a VHS tape with only grave robbing for morons on it, being sold by a company with the name King of the Witches. When visiting this website, it appears that the mystery is finally solved. Our videotapes are sourced from recycled materials to emulate the CD video store feel that inspired us in the first place. If you don't like it, stick to Blu-rays. We're not here to cater to people who don't understand tapes. They literally said it. They produce videos on VHSs that appear older than they really are. But do you want to know what really seals the deal? It all goes back to Anthony's name dropping. And guess what? One of the names was Bucci.
Bucci and
And guess what? One of the owners of this company is named Christopher Bucci. On top of creating these realistic VHS-like short films, he also runs a YouTube channel where he and friends review independent horror films.
Hi, I'm Chris, and this is Crank.
Yeah.
And this is a 4-minute and 20-second film review.
I did message him just for final confirmation, and have yet to receive a response. But the evidence here really is just too much to ignore. The guys have to be the creators, especially since they used to sell this, and it aligns so perfectly with everything else they have made, which means that this years-old mystery on whether this video was real or not has been debunked. Hi, welcome to Unfiled. My name is Seth, and today we're going to be talking about the one and only Slap Happy. To kick off 2021, we wanted to return to our roots. 2020 was full of expansion and a dive into topics that we never thought we would ever cover before. This wasn't totally out of choice, but it ended up culminating in a year greater than we ever thought was possible when it came to the content that we came up with. Of course, thank you guys so much for sticking around with us last year, and we hope you enjoy this year so much more. With that being said though, I do still believe that a good internet mystery is truly unmatched. And right here, we have found something that is truly strange. Calling it an internet mystery is partly a fallacy. This is more akin to a grave robbing for morons, as this mystery here and that one didn't begin on the internet, but did receive its notoriety from there. Now, of course, it still hasn't received much notoriety in the grand scheme of things, but it did receive enough for us to somehow catch a hold of it. And the story of Slap Happy, as you will see in just a second, is one of the most wild rides you will see in quite some time. Enough talk now, though. Let's just get right into it. This is the mystery of Slap Happy. It all began with one of our many dives on the internet in order to find a topic. During one of these, Jiff stumbled upon a Reddit post that caught his eye. The mystery of the weird old woman in Slap Happy VHS tape. In this post, the OP describes a really strange VHS tape that features an old lady doing some odd, unexplained hand movements by the edge of her bed for an extended amount of time. It gives a YouTube link and a video link. This tape absolutely gives off a very, very strange atmosphere. As while she's doing these unexplained rituals, she never speaks once.
Hang on.
Instead, just stares directly into the camera, smiling for almost the entire duration. A duration that is 50 entire minutes.
Try earthing or embracing a big tree. That's that one posture, right? Yeah, right. That's that one. I call it the tree hugging posture because it reminds me of tree hugging, which I don't do. But I do the tree hugging posture. But I do the tree hugging posture.
Did you know Cheez-It made extra tasty?
It's just always hard going from like a kickboxing sort of thing, or not hard. I don't know. It's just different vibe. Like I'm used to like thinking, fighting, hitting, getting hit, covering up. This is more like I don't know. I don't know. It's different. We're learning. I guess that's the point, right? We're finding out what about it. We are resetting the mind. Trying to let go of whatever ego we got. It does work on balance. It's weird to think about, but standing still does work on balance. Use a coal, and before sleep, I use breathing of giving. I have a good night's sleep and less breathing problems. Okay. Interesting. So you're saying that this is legit, is what you're saying, that there is something to it, is what you're getting at.
As you can see, this is some extremely off-putting stuff and leaves you with an array of questions. What is this lady doing? Why is it being recorded? Who is it being recorded for? And who is this lady anyways? These are just a few of the questions that might be rolling around in your head right now.
We got hot peppermint tea on top of that. In the morning, dude, this is about to hit the spot. If I can even drink it, if it's not too hot, this is about to hit the spot.
As of course, he had to have gotten it from somewhere. As it turns out, this guy has a whole blog documenting a bunch of different things, many of which being interviews that he did while working for Vice, along with various videos that he edited. But he also
It's stupid hot. I love it.
Weird videos that he would come across and post them there as well. Of course, Slap Happy was one of these. And it also
Hot peppermint tea, dude. Oh my god.
This is what he had to say about it.
I don't want to use the words. I don't think I can use the words that I want to use to describe this, but it's really good. I know I'm drinking it like a savage straight out of the teapot, but it just has it's just more kung fu, man. It's just except I can't drink it all because it's hot.
There was no soundtrack, and she does not talk at any point. I'm not sure whether it's actually a workout video or a performance.
Oh, I can feel how warm it is.
It's one of the most hypnotic and creepy things I've ever seen. The way he described it as being off-putting and hypnotic is absolutely true. But with this blog post out of the way, the question that now arises is, well, simply, where do we go from here? This post is seemingly the only piece of information on the entire internet that gives us.
I need to mop this ground. Get some water, mop the ground.
All we were able to receive was a guy that was
Earthing, you take your shoes off and stand outside and get energy and electricity from the earth. You know, that does make sense. It's cold right now, so I probably shouldn't take my shoes off and do that because it's freezing. But maybe I should do that in the garage.
Party girl, and she had a ton to say regarding the VHS. She started off her post by mentioning that her friend was actually
Okay, you convinced me, Dave.
And gave subsequent information regarding the video that we had never even heard before, including the name of her friend, Vic Vincent. She also stated that the old lady was not doing these acts as some sort of exercise, and that it was rather some kind of weird ritual.
Okay, Dave.
She also stated that
You
the videos
convinced
were
me.
originally about 5 to 6 hours long, and that they were cut down to just be an hour, which only makes this even stranger. The fact that this lady would sit here for up to 6 hours in a row simply smiling at a camera and doing these unknown hand movements.
That's crazy.
With all of that out of the way, this Reddit post still
Whoa,
wasn't
she almost doesn't look human.
One, I wanted to prove without a shadow of a doubt that what she was saying was legit. It is impossible to trust someone like this completely on the surface, even if it does look real. So I messaged her in hopes
Ah,
to
my
prove
foot
this,
hurts.
and in hopes that
Okay,
I could actually
let's
see this
ground
myself.
to the
Both of my wishes
pavement.
were granted. She described herself as merely being a recipient of the wackiness of Slap Happy and gave me Vic's Facebook. Vic Vincent is an editor that has worked on an array of different projects throughout his career, many of which can actually be found on YouTube. He seemed to be most active in the late 90s and early 2000s, and unfortunately doesn't edit as much as he used to due to some deeply unfortunate health complications, including losing much of his eyesight. But during his run, he did in fact edit Slap Happy, and he had a lot to say about it. The first thing I asked Vic was the top question that I'm sure we all had. It was simply, who was the lady in this video, and what was the point of her doing what she did in it? Before he answers, I quickly want to stop and think for a second. I'm sure you have all been doing some hypothesizing up until this moment, and well, so did we before we got into contact here. During this, we did what I'm assuming most of you did, and thought about some other videos that were found on the internet that were extremely weird. But when finally getting their explanations, it wound up being something a little more grounded than what you would expect. The top example that bolted to my head to explain what I mean here is I Feel Fantastic. Something that is nice to finally talk about after all these years. Anyways, as you all know by now, this was a really strange video uploaded onto YouTube that terrified quite literally millions. But when we finally got our explanation as to what this was all about, it got way less creepy. And really, countless classic internet oddities also follow suit in this. I Feel Fantastic was not recorded by a serial killer who buried his victim in his backyard. Blank Room Soup did not depict a man eating human waste, and really, this phenomenon makes perfect sense. Taking these types of videos and watching them out of context is bound to be creepy, and allows for the human mind to wander in attempts to connect the dots. Naturally, I assume that Slap Happy would follow suit and would give off a much more grounded explanation as to what we were truly seeing here. Maybe this truly was a strange exercise, or maybe this was her odd way of meditation. What if I told you that this was not the case at all? After I asked that question, he began his explanation. He kicked it off by mentioning going into his office around 2000 like any other day. Except on this day, across the hall, he saw a woman and what appeared to be either her husband or manservant were there picking up some videotapes that were hot off the rack and gave them to him. He stated that he doesn't remember their names anymore, but interestingly, he said that there was not just one Slap Happy. There were actually dozens, and what we saw was just one of them. While these dozens likely featured exactly the same contents as what we've seen in ours, it's definitely still
Weird.
something worth noting. and the thought of her doing these acts over a dozen times for many hours each time only makes things stranger.
It's almost
What
disturbing to look at.
is something that shocked me so much. I simply couldn't believe it, like at all. He mentions that these videos featured some sort of religious context.
I knew it.
Goes on to explain that she lived in a mansion with perhaps followers, and spoke about her being a half of herself passing this communication from her Earth audience from Venus. Excuse me. What? Just to make sure, I asked if she was a cult leader then, and he stated that he guesses you could call her a cult leader, but didn't know what the evidence would be to back that claim with the tapes being given out for free. And he only ever saw one person in the videos, which was another old guy who would very slightly enter the frame for really small amounts of time. With him mentioning that these tapes were given out for free, the perfect segue into what my next question already was, and that simply was, what was the target audience for these videos? Unfortunately, he didn't know, as all he definitively learned was what he had heard in the hallway on that fateful day. As for what was next, that's about all I asked in the realm of questioning, but he left off with stating that he's going to try and find his other copies of Slap Happy, particularly the ones that were never able to be seen before, and hopefully burn them for all of us to see. As of right now, we still haven't been able to see those copies, as there have been some complications regarding all of that. In conclusion, this is simply one of the most insane rides for a mystery I've seen in a while, and a true fascinating online rabbit hole, which we've really been missing all this time. This VHS was made for purposes that, according to the editor himself, involved religious, possibly cult-like activities. With this editor truly being the only person in that room to truly know if this was the case, it's impossible to know if this is actually the case or not. So I'll let you all make that judgment for yourselves. However, if there is one takeaway you could truly make out of all this, it's to not trust creepy old ladies. Hi, welcome to Old File. My name is Seth, and today we're delving down the insane rabbit hole of I'm seeing gnomes. On the internet, the concept of seeing things, whether that be the paranormal or cryptids, has always been a pretty infamous subject. Really, these types of things go back way before the internet too. You have Bigfoot, skin crawlers, skin walkers, the Mothman, and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands more. Whether or not you believe in these stories is entirely up to the individual, but tonight we have found a channel deep in the far reaches of YouTube.
My hands feel warm.
In this case, I've seen some very specific
And tingle a little bit.
What creatures, you ask? Gnomes. Yes, you heard me right. Gnomes. Beginning way back in 2010, we have found a fascinating channel that has gone pretty much undiscovered for an entire decade. The name of the channel pretty much says it all too. It's a man who is documenting his encounters of seeing gnomes on his property. While there is a chance that this is an ARG, I'm not entirely sure this is what we're dealing with here. ARGs were a thing in 2010, but they weren't even close to the massive internet phenomenon that they are today. We'll get back to this possibility later, but there's also a very solid chance that this is something more. In his About section, he describes items being misplaced, tampered with, and actually seeing biped-like entities near the woods that do not match the description of any known animals in this region. On the channel itself, there are only 8
So,
videos until
the breathing in you raises up and breathe out, and you sink down.
Starting with the very first video, Gnome High Activity Location Tour. In this first video, he basically goes over a lot of what the
Dude,
description says.
oh my god, I just thought of something. It's probably dumb, right? But look, can I put? Can I just? Is she a visualizing thing? Okay, so I'm gonna sit down on the bed real quick, and then I'm gonna try to focus to put chi, whatever that is, focus, and then throw that knife and see what happens. See.
I know the animals around here. I spent a lot of time in the woods, and whatever these are, they are not just the typical yard animal.
The following video gets into some of the actual activity, although with only photos. In this one, he states that his spoon, which was on his sink, was discovered outside in the snow next to some footprints that do not appear to belong to any well-known animal. He shows that these footprints truly were everywhere, and ends the video by showing a side-by-side of his own footprints compared to these mysterious ones. This is among one of the most interesting videos, and is definitely one we will get back to later. The following 3 videos seem to have all been recorded at the exact same time, but were split into 3 separate videos instead of one for some reason. In it, our poster claims to have just heard a noise from a bin, where he quickly got up and tried to record some more. In the first video,
Okay, so did that work because I put chi into the knives and threw them? Or did that work because the breathing helped me focus and the visualization of me transferring energy to the knife and then throwing it? Do you think, so that's the thing, do you think that the actual me visualizing and breathing into it and then throwing it, because I was putting the energy on the tip and then I threw it, right? Or was it the fact that I was breathing and focusing that just made me make all those shots?
At this tunnel, I can see just from looking at it that it appears like
Also place them very nicely all next to each other.
carved away the insides, and you can see where
And I'm not good at knife throwing by any means. I just pictured, I just thought about what that guy said about the whole chi thing, and I just breathed and try to do it, right?
as it shows a specific area in the forest once again. But then
Breathe and focus on the point of it, and then when I felt that sort of connection,
as you can see,
I threw it.
this final video has the title of No Chatter Captured on Audio. In his description, he mentions the sound contained in the video as being the exact same one he heard.
Is that real?
Where he made those 3 videos attempting to catch a noise again.
I
He also
wonder.
stated that he only caught this audio here as a result of him leaving his digital camera running near his window at
We're
night.
really gonna focus on this chi stuff and see if we can build anything with this keyboard. See if there is any truth to it.
You are in fact able to hear some very slight whispers. Take a listen.
Old Spice men's styling products promote healthier, more moisturized looking hair, all while helping you achieve the perfect look.
Your gut is like a garden, growing both good bacteria and bad. That balance is key to a healthy gut environment. Benefiber's plant-based prebiotic fiber gently nourishes the good bacteria, working with your body to help your gut and you flourish effortlessly every day.
Okay,
Growing feels
now I'm
good.
curious.
Benefiber.
Where's the throwing knife? Or not a knife. I have a throwing needle, which is much harder to get. Now I'm like, no. If I get this throwing needle in one shot, then we're tripping.
So I'm using Experian to find cars with no deemed decline.
I don't know where it's at, but
They
it was
say they're
around
looking
here
for
somewhere.
If I get denied, my FICO score won't get a ding. Sounds good to me.
I can't find it.
Get the free Experian app now.
Filing your tax return is different on freetaxusa.com. First off, there are no extra fees for premium or self-employed taxes because the federal return is always free for everyone, for all situations. You'll never pay extra for IRS e-filing or to get your biggest refund. Best of all, filing a state return is under $20 and all calculations are guaranteed 100% accurate. This year, save $100 or more by filing your taxes on freetaxusa.com.
And with this, that would be the final video ever uploaded to this channel. However, there was a blog that continued on. When reading the blog, you'll see that it lasts all the way up until May of 2010, which gives us a few months of content to sift through as the YouTube channel uploads ceased at the end of March of that year. The first blog post picks up literally directly where the channel left off, as it seems to revolve around the interpretation of what the gnomes were whispering that night. He mentions actually creating a post on the paranormal boards to help, which, as a quick side note, was where a ton of the comments on the YouTube channel came from. Unfortunately, despite all of my best digging through the archives, I was not able to find the original post on X. Anyways, he eventually came to the conclusion that there were actually 2 voices and not 1. About a week later, he would return to his blog, making a post that went over his future plans has some more experiences that have happened to him in the last few days, the most interesting of which being this. He mentioned stepping onto the back steps one night, and he heard what sounded to be either whimpering or crying. He mentioned being quite disturbed by the noise, especially with it coming from the woods, and when saying something out loud, he only heard silence. A little while went past of just update posts, and the only takeaway to come from them was the fact that he did record audio again, except he didn't hear anything noteworthy, so he never shared them. In May, he made a post stating that he wanted to use some other methods of catching some activity. This time, he put a note and clipboard on the bench in his yard. This was for the purpose of communication with these entities, and to also see if this paper and clipboard would be moved. Surprise, surprise, a few days later, the paper and clipboard were gone. Alas, on May 13th,
Could've been the wind, though.
final ever post would be made, and it's quite the mouthful. He mentioned trying to stay positive mentally and described a bizarre dream he had involving these notes. He then segued into a noise he heard earlier that day, describing it as sounding like a squeak, but being different than normal animal sound, like something a squirrel would make. He ended the post pondering what the next step would be for him in dealing with the entire situation.
Actually, I've captured one really weird, freaky, sort of like super duper high pitched voice in an old video from 10 years ago that I have on my YouTube, that I have on this channel. Back when I would used to do like really goofy gaming videos of my mom's iPod when I was like 19, 20 years old. Or my mom's iPad at the time. And I was recording Mega Man X. And I was hanging out with two of my friends, and in the middle of us talking, you hear this really, really high-pitched voice go, "Hear me out," or "Help me out," and it's on the YouTube. So I don't know what to think, man. It's insane. I don't know what to think. That's the only time I've ever captured a voice that it was none of us, and it's obviously there, and it's just weird. I don't know what to think about that.
Much more going on in them than this too. In these videos, there really
But it is there. I don't know what it is. Obviously, I'm not gonna say it's one thing or another, but it's none of us, and it's clear, super clear. But it's like really high pitched, like what you would think a gnome or a fairy would sound like. It's weird.
As this theory would leave some looming questions. Most notably, what about the footprints and what about the audio? For the footprints, we actually did some research on what these small footprints here could have been, since we obviously assumed that they weren't actually made by gnomes. And we found that they very closely matched cats. When cats walk, their movements like to overlap each other, and this leads to their footprints being in almost a straight line. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Because this picture isn't super close, we can't see the close-up details in order to prove that the print itself matches, but it definitely seems like it from the faraway pattern. As for the audio, in keeping with the theory, this is no fabrication, it's anybody's guess as to what this would be. I truly do not have a clue as to what could be making those whispers. As for things like the clipboard and paper missing, it could be explained by maybe heavy winds blowing them away if we're keeping consistent with this being real. But with all that said, now let's go over the possibility that this might be an ARG. How likely would that be? I'd say there's a pretty solid chance. We did mention before that ARGs were not a widespread internet phenomenon like they are today, but at the same time, they didn't not exist either. So while the chances of an ARG being around this point wasn't necessarily high, it's still pretty possible. One of the other reasons I thought that this might be more than just an ARG had to do with the aforementioned subtlety, as once again, not too much happens in these videos, but hey, maybe this guy was just a really good storyteller. This theory would also obviously explain those previously unanswered questions, since it would all be his creation. Overall, the best ARGs are the ones where you can't truly 100% tell if they were real or not. So
My foot's swollen. I hit it with something. It hurts in the inside.
I wouldn't honestly be mad. If this is an ARG, it's undoubtedly one of the most unique concepts I've ever
Right
seen
there.
before.
It's like an acute
And as stated at the start
pressure.
of this video, I'm still astounded at how this channel has gone virtually unnoticed for over an entire decade. But hey, maybe every single theory presented so far is wrong. Because what if there really were gnomes attacking? Whatever the case, reminds us a lot of the types of things we covered that first brought a lot of you here in the first place. Despite the possibility of it not being real, the sense of wonder and
I think of
creativity
dipping my
it
fingers
definitely brought
in
us
gold
back to
water
our roots.
and bringing it to
Well,
my
at the
face
same
and
time,
splashing it.
that shot of it being real also invokes nerve, fear, and worry. For our final request for tonight, just remember that when you turn out the lights and get ready for sleep tonight, watch out for those nerves. Hi, welcome to On File. My name is Seth, and today we're going to be talking about the mystery behind the one and only Flight Reacts. Now on the On File, we've covered our fair share of mysteries involving YouTubers, but surely none of them are as intense as this. In case you didn't know, Flight Reacts is, well, a reaction channel, mostly. The majority of his videos will be reacting to either NBA games from the previous day, highlights
Let's
from the
see.
season,
We
or
still got
just
like
usual
6
reactions to
minutes
something that isn't even NBA
to
related.
make it 3 hours of 3 hours of training.
Once occasionally plays Madden and occasionally plays 2K among some other things. With this type of description, you might
Oof, my
think it
foot's
just
injured.
like any of those other thousands of reaction channels out there, but this simply just isn't true. There's one thing Flight has over these other channels, and that is intellect. I mean, just watch this video, you'll see what I mean.
Y-M-E!
Flight is most well known for moments like these, and also has an absurd amount of catchphrases, the most famous of which, of course, being,
Look at Curry, man. Look at Curry, man. Look at Curry, man. It's so fast. Look at Curry. Look at Curry, man. It's just amazing, bro. Oh, man. Look at Curry, man.
New Emergency Immune Plus crystals. Take them on the go. No water needed. Now with vitamin D for when you want extra immune support. Try new Emergency Immune Plus crystals today.
The Silverado Trail.
Yeah, let's not.
And the peace of mind of OnStar connectivity. Ever noticed how the most beautiful things in
Wow,
life
so many ads. Just let me skip one. Holy shit.
Aluminum-free 72-hour odor protection.
But this is just one of the things you'll consistently catch him saying. Among other catchphrases, you of course have, I didn't have the cameras on, which always stems from him watching a highlight of some sort and then claiming that he's done that move, but just simply didn't have the cameras on.
Well, I would have caught that, bro. I literally caught a pass like that back in 8th grade. I just didn't have the cameras on at the time.
There's the infamous case of Flight giving players absurd heights.
I mean, you're like 7 foot, bro. You better make that. You know, Kungpo in body weight total is 7'8", bro. Kungpo, you're literally 10'1", man. You are literally 10'11" and a half with Kungpo. I didn't even say 11'3". He's more like 11'9", bro.
Oh, and there's also this.
Dude's running like somebody said dinner's ready downstairs.
These catchphrases and quirks have made Flight become basically a global sensation at this point. He got noticed by the one and only Stephen Curry, and he's become a giant meme everywhere. These quirks, though, they come with a question, and that is any of it real? Yeah, that's right. Due to the immense amount of catchphrases he has to his name and the seemingly self-aware nature of them, today we're going to attempt to figure out if the man that we see and love every day has actually been just a character the whole time. Let's start off by going back in time. Of course, with Flight's audience being much more massive now than ever before, and understanding how YouTube works more now than before, if he was a character, we need to go back to before he had an audience in order to see if the behavior shifted. As it turns out, it most definitely did. His first video ever on his main channel was from 2013 and depicts him playing NBA 2K13. And just take a listen to what the man sounds like here.
When I had first made a YouTube account, I actually didn't start off making videos. I actually rather did NBA mixes and the tutorial mixes on just different things in life. And I actually still am. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm still a game head, major game head.
Yeah, as you see, this just doesn't seem like the same person, and it's quite shocking when you see what he appears to be now. It's not even that he's just quieter here either, because many first YouTube videos feature some camera shyness, but here and in some other old videos, the personality itself definitely appears lessened, to say the least. It definitely seems that the Flight we all know of today only truly appeared when he began making the reaction videos, which was about 5 years ago. This was when I first heard of it, and while he still wasn't as big then as he is now, these reaction videos were where the first love began, and it's also where his behavior drastically shifted. As we said, in the old videos we saw a more reserved Flight, and even when he did begin becoming more extroverted, he definitely wasn't saying the types of things that make him go viral now. But with the dawn of the Flight reaction videos, let's just take a look at some of these clips. The results were actually interesting. One of the first reaction videos he ever uploaded was entitled Best Funniest Halloween Vibes and Advice Reaction. And in it we see very, very different laugh as opposed to the infamous one we all know today.
Okay. We're about to hit the 3-hour mark. You know, that's not too bad. A small 3-hour sesh. What's her goal? I don't really know. This is gonna sound stupid, but because until I find a job, because I'm looking for a job, we should probably be training. We should probably be training like 7 hours a day, 6-7 hours every day. Until I get a job, 6-7 hours every day to justify my existence, and then Qigong until we figure out if we can get supernatural powers from it. Okay, so subscribe. Do you know any Tai Chi movements? I know this one. Well, here's the thing, right? I know Kung Fu movements because I know different forms from different styles of Kung Fu, right? But I don't know I don't know anything about Tai Chi other than the breathing and parting horse's mane, or just the beginning. This here.
He's a shooting coach this offseason. His form is too ugly for somebody that's been tall.
That's what I was tired. I was like, shut.
And why do I know that motion? Because I've thrown somebody I've thrown someone like that. I tripped them up, boom, and just threw them. So I practiced that motion because I can end up actually being able to do it. And I also do it for flow arts.
But this just has to be a character. But maybe that's just us. At the end of the day, the only person who truly knows with absolute certainty the answer here is Flight himself. And by the tiny chance that you somehow watch this video, hey there, Flight. It's good to know that we have the power to solve.
So I know that motion. I think they call it silk reeling. Something like that. I can't remember. I don't recall, but I do. There you go. Like this. Okay. And I like this because it works on my sort of hips for the turning of my hips. But that's about it. I only know a few of those things, and then I know some Xingyi Chuan Qigong, but I mostly do praying mantis Kung Fu. But I guess we could always do our Kung Fu forms really slowly and turn them into Tai Chi. But alright, I'm gonna go edit some videos and upload some stuff and subscribe for more of whatever this is, documenting progress.
The question that I don't see asked quite enough as well